and kick off our first meeting for this evening. So I give everybody just a moment to settle in and we'll get going here. All right, we will go ahead and call this August 6th, 2024 Irondale Emergency Management Communication District Board meeting into order. Roll call, Councilman London.
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Here.
Councilman Box. Here. Councilman Sims. Present. And myself present as well. First order of business, if we could get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the April 17th, 2024 meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from April 17th, 2024.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have one item on this agenda. That would be item number 1. Resolve that resolution number 003-24 authorizes Chief Jason Wiggins to purchase an event-tied next log system for the Motorola Solutions for the E911 department in an amount not to exceed $43,198.28. Chief, would you care to introduce this item?
Basically, this is the recorder for our dispatch system. It's been in need of replacement. They do not repair them anymore. It's outdated. It's antiquated system. So we need to replace it. This is an E911 item.
Okay. Councilman Lennon, any questions for Chief?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Chief, on page 2 of the documentation that you sent us, it states that this software is available either through the web browser on PCs, tablets, and phones, or it can be used as a native application on a PC. Are you going to be using it both ways or just one way?
Primarily through dispatch. It is capable of that. Doesn't mean we would be using it.
Okay, good. And then the last question I have is on page 3. It states here at the bottom that the first year is your updates are covered the first 12 months. Do you intend to continue with having the updates throughout each year that follows?
If
And
we
so-
continue with the same system through Motorola, through MCA, MCA is the vendor we use. They're on the state bid. That's who we use. And all the other 911 systems are through the MCA system.
Okay, and because we're replacing it more or less, what are we talking about as far as an annual software update?
I'll be honest, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Okay.
I don't know what that would be.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the other one didn't have the annual?
It had gone through the annual updates, and they're around it was around $2,500.
Okay.
And it's just a service maintenance agreement where it
Right.
would come out.
Right,
And I'm not sure what this one would be.
okay.
but
Give or
it-
take, that'd be about
yeah.
that amount. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chief, do you want me? I could probably speak to that. There's usually not a charge for updates. You pay an annual subscription fee, and all of the updates and everything is usually built into the subscription fee. So you don't pay. I mean, it's just like when your computer is updated on Windows. I mean, there's not a charge to be able to do that. But the way our software is usually an annual subscription, and that's just a part of the subscription.
Okay, I was just looking on the bottom here. It does state that is included the first 12 months, and you can have the annual updates at a fee. And that's why I was asking about how much. No problem with 2,500 if
Right.
or
Most
less,
of the time,
that's
it's the
fine.
maintenance agreement that we're paying
Yeah.
for annually. And it includes, like the mayor said, it includes the
Okay.
updates.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Councilman Box, any questions for Chief? Councilman Sims?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We don't typically take comments on these particular items. Thank you, Chief, very much for your information. At this time, I would ask for a motion on resolution 003-24.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 003-24.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. That being said, I would look for a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, seconded, all in favor? Aye. All right. And that's an E911 meeting. So we will kick this official meeting off, our city council meeting off in 5 minutes. So feel free to talk amongst yourselves and mill about. allowing us to kind of get through some of our first proceedings. Packed house tonight. Pastor McClure, we have a special guest with us this evening. If you would go ahead and open us up, sir.
All right. Let us pray. Eternal gracious God, we're so grateful to be before you tonight, to honor you and to thank you for the grace and the many blessings you've bestowed upon our life. We ask you to bless now Emeritus Council and all that will take part in these proceedings. Allow your perfect will to be accomplished decently and in order. And God, we're praying that you will receive all the glory from our coming together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Let us pledge. Ready? Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you very much, Pastor. All right, as we call to order, roll call for the August 6, 2024 City Council meeting. Councilman London.
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Here.
Councilman Box. Councilman Sims.
Present.
And myself present as well. First order of business tonight, approval of the minutes from the regular City Council meeting of July 16th, 2024. We have a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Did we not do it last meeting we had? Is this why it's back on the agenda?
I'm sorry?
Okay.
No, we're approving the minutes from the,
Okay.
I was given two agendas, so I might have
Okay.
made a misspeak.
Okay, on page 2 of our minutes, if you look at the form of the agenda for our 7/16 meeting, it needs to be approved at our 8/6/24 meeting. I'm just kind of looking.
Outside of.
I think Councilman Sims, you had the
Sorry?
same question.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, why have we added this language here? Do we need to make a motion for the form of the agenda?
You're talking about the form of the agenda from the last meeting?
Yes, that's correct.
We
It's
have
on
a
our
spot for,
minutes.
we
It's on
have
the
a-
minutes
hold
that
on a
we're
second.
just approving.
I've got two different copies of the agenda. They're in different order.
Okay.
We have language in a different order for that. So we're just approving, well, I guess legal, can we still keep approval of the form agenda where it is on my red line? Correct.
July 16th.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm asking, do I need to make a motion that our July the 16th minutes be approved along with the form of the agenda from July 16th to also be approved? Okay.
Your pleasure, because
Okay.
either way would be correct,
Yeah,
whatever you're
quickly to save
comfortable
time.
with.
I make a motion the approval of minutes for the regular council meeting on July 16th, along with the form of the agenda from the July 16th meeting be approved.
Second as moved by Quiller.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain? Understood.
Abstain.
Understood. Thank you. Let's see here. Let me just strike that off my copy before I get us to do it again later. Perfect. Done and done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was in my red line and I knew we had a plan for it, but thank you for just getting it out of the way. All right. That being said, now that we have our minutes approved, then now we're going to go ahead and move on to the current bills. If we could get a
Right.
motion. Yes, ma'am.
I had one comment I wanted to make, Council President Spivey. In going through the invoices for our council expense approval report on page 8, I was taken aback because in looking at the architect's invoice, I learned that our construction cost for the Civic Center has been increased from $10 million to $17,865,500 and $865,566. Now, Councilman Spivey, we've had this happen before. the council needs to be told this is a 78% increase in construction cost. We approved the resolution for 7 to 10 million for the Civic Center. And lo and behold, I'm going through the invoices and it's now $17.8 million. We didn't receive a resolution to approve this. We're getting bills and we're expected to pay them. This, sir, needs to be addressed. This cannot continue. That's $7.8 million. That's a lot of money. We weren't told about it.
I
We need
understand
to
what
be
you're.
told when these things happen.
I understand. Mayor looks like he's making an explanation.
Well, the reason that I wanted to speak to it, because we have not brought a resolution to the council to be able to raise anything. So if they put that on the invoice, they put that on there themselves. Do you all remember approving for us to be able to increase the architect fees for the Civic Center? And the reason that you do not remember it, because we haven't done that yet.
These fees are based on construction cost of $17.8 million. These fees are on our invoice to approve payment. I always look at our invoices.
I know you do. So break this down for me, Mayor, in regards to what she is. So obviously they put it on an invoice for us to pay it.
They put it on the invoice, but we haven't agreed to be able to pay anything. So I need to go back to them because I can't authorize an increase for a contract without getting council approval. I think I've been doing this long enough now to know that I have to get you all to be able to approve something. So before people go and start accusing people of doing things, maybe they need to check with the people who received the bills to see what has really happened with the bill.
So in respect to this particular line item, the line item that is in do you have a question about the specific line item or the
I do have a
invoice?
question, and the same thing happened with our municipal complex. When I was looking at invoices, I noticed that the cost for construction was increased from $10 million to $14 million, a 40% increase. We were not told about it, and it appears to be something that continues to happen, and I'm concerned because we're talking about millions of dollars.
But
We need to be told when these things happen, because the cost, the invoice is based on the new cost of construction, not on the old cost of construction.
So I understand the ultimate question is about the invoice, which we're obviously going to have to address at a later time, but specific to the line item itself. Do you have an issue with the line item in the
I
expenses?
do. It needs to be based on 10 million until this council can discuss and ask questions. Why is this a $7.8 million increase? We need answers before we can approve anything. And we're talking about one invoice. We're not talking about the entire council expense approval report. I'm talking about this one invoice that is based on $17.8 million.
You probably know her math better than I do because you're closer to the project.
Yes, I'm not looking at the invoice, so I can't tell if what the calculations are built off of. I would ask Councilwoman Cuellar if she knows what it is, since she's pointed out what the error is.
It says that this is based for a preliminary design, architectural preliminary design, and based on $17,865,566.
Could I make a
Please,
question?
because you're in the construction
Okay,
industry.
There's been no change orders increasing the price. This is for billing for a design that was brought forward. I think the contract existed. How much does the contract exist as? Councilman?
It was 7 to 10 million.
Okay.
Yes.
So it exists at that. What is the dollar amount of the invoice they're asking to be paid for?
95,000 $469.22.
So
So
it's the,
95,000,
We have
95,465 is work that's much less than 7 to 10 million. This is one invoice of many to come with change orders that will be addressed, that we can then say, hey, wait a minute, we're not so sure we agree to this $7 million increase for it, but for the work they've already done. Now, did you say it was 95,000 was the line item for the invoice?
Correct.
That's correct. So
So-
far, we have paid them $430,000, $535.79. 430, 535.79. That's how much we paid so far.
Okay. So we're still well less than the $7 to $10 million contract agreement that we made. I don't see why we can't approve this. This is about approving paying the bills this month. Then yes, I'm glad you called it to our attention. That can be addressed, but that's not something that we address while we're approving the bills for the current month. That's my point of order.
Thank you for saying what I was unable to articulate. So
Right, so just so that everyone is clear, we're
now
talking
we're going to go
about
ahead and we're going to go back into
430,000.
point of order, Councilwoman
It's
Cuellar. Based on Councilman Box's comments on paying for work that's already been done, we're not authorizing an additional $7 million by approving this line item. I understand what you're thinking about, like trend. I get that, but we're talking about work that's already been done. What we've already paid versus what we're paying is we haven't hit our threshold. We haven't hit our cap yet. So I don't understand the issue with
No, what I'm
approving
saying is
this
the cap is
expense.
now 1.2 million versus 600,000. That's what I'm saying.
Understood.
Council President, can
Yes.
I say something? I understand what Councilman Box is saying.
Right.
If you look at it on $10 million, I think the percentage that we have to pay is 6.5. So we're talking about $650,000. At the end of the day, we still haven't hit the $650,000, even if we go back to the 10 million. What I will do is get with the architects, and when we have our next council meeting, I will come back and provide information to you all where we are, what was those calculations. I will also, if there is a difference now, I will also bring back a resolution to give you all the opportunity to adopt it.
And all I'm asking, Council President Spivey, that because this is such a huge increase, we need to know what these construction costs are. On what are they based? Have we made that many changes that we're increasing at $7.8 million? We need to know. We oversee the finances. We oversee the properties. We need to have a say in this matter. It is not a decision that's made and then you send the bill to the council.
I understand that, and I think we're in a place now, based on what the mayor is saying about what he's willing to present to us in 2 weeks to bring us up to speed on what's been done and what still needs to be done, based on the fact that he's going to bring that information to us in 2 weeks so that we can have an idea of where we are with things. Will you approve the expense?
I'll approve the expense under these conditions that have just been stated, that he will get with them and come back to us, because based on my calculations, 4 million and another 7.8 million is $11.8 million on just 2 projects. And they continue to change, and I have concerns. We need to know about it.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Is there a motion for the approval of the expenses?
Make a motion that we pay the bills for this month of $1,191,678.09.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Were there any nays or abstentions? There were no nays or abstentions. I couldn't hear you, Councilwoman Cuellar.
No, there were no nays. I stated under the condition we do
I
that, I
understand.
would.
I just
good
want to
with
make
it.
sure your vote was recorded correctly. All right. Mayor's report. Sir, you have the floor.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming out tonight. We're really looking forward to the deliberations that we have in front of us. I'm going to proceed with the mayor's report. On July the 27th, 2024, we had the blessing of the fire trucks here at City Hall. It was a wonderful event. We had Pastor Hooper and Pastor McClure that were on the front row. They participated in it. it was a joyous occasion here at the city to realize that for years, the fire department has not had the proper equipment to be able to work with and to be able to look at those 3 fire engines, 2 transports, and a ladder truck to be out there to know that they are protecting our citizens with the best equipment. I would say that it brought a lot of joy to my heart. On 8/10/2024, this is the last weekend for the Irondale Farmers and Makers Market, so I want to encourage everybody to come out and to be able to support them. Beginning next Monday, the town hall train is revving up the engine, and we're going to 4 communities next week. We'll be in Roebuck Plaza on August the 12th. We will be at Stewart Perry for the Belmont and Overton area on the 13th. On the 14th, we will be at the Villas Clubhouse, and on the 15th, we will finish it up at Triangle Park in the Montevallo Park area. These town hall meetings are open to any citizen that would like to attend from the city of Irondale, so you don't have to live in the area where we're holding the meeting. And if you all would like to have additional meetings, please get with Ms. Emma Tolbert and let her know that you would like for the train to be able to stop in your community. On 8/17, we're going to have Jazz Fest in Beacon Park. We're really looking forward for everybody to be able to come out. We have a lot of exciting artists that are going to be a part of it. We have Miss Alfred that's going to be a part of it. She's a violinist. We have KB Technique, which is a local jazz band that has been around for years. We also have JJ San Severino. He plays the saxophone, and then we're going to wrap up everything with our very own Miss Kim Scott. And finally, on 8/22, we're going to have a budget town hall meeting here at 6 o'clock, and I will be presenting the FY25 budget to the citizens. And once I presented this budget to the citizens, I'm looking forward to turning it over to the city council for them to do whatever they please with this document. That's all that I have for tonight, Council President, and I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We'll go ahead and roll into council member and standing committee reports. Councilman London, we will start with you, sir.
Well, I'm just glad to be back. And first of all, good evening. To everybody.
evening.
And I don't have anything because I know we have a long agenda tonight. So glad y'all here.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, one brief comment, and then another where I've received a request from a resident to allow them some time, which I will be doing. The first comment I make is brief, and that is that we do have a resolution that says that council is to receive our budget on no later than August the 15th. And we need to have our budget by August the 15th, no later, so that we can take a look at it and schedule a finance committee. At this time, I will now turn the floor over to the resident that requested some time. It's Carter Drake. If you'd please come forward now, sir. I'm giving you my time.
My name is Carter Dukes. I'm a resident of 3108 Carl Daly Road, along with my wife Susan and family. I am speaking on my behalf and on behalf of my neighbors who reside along the neighborhoods of Carl Daly Road with respect to rezoning within the city. In 2021, Irondale invested significant time and resources to develop a comprehensive plan called Blueprint Irondale. It did this through intense community involvement, sending out surveys, in-person and virtual events. In December 2021, the city adopted this comprehensive plan detailing the existing and future land use of the city. Why is this important? Because by law, Alabama Code Section 1152-72 requires that zoning regulations shall be made in accordance with a comprehensive plan. I've heard some say that Blueprint Irondale is only a guide and it can be ignored. It is a guide, but it cannot, as a matter of law, be ignored willy-nilly. That is, there has to be a good reason to ignore it. And as to the subject property, 6085 Old Leeds Road, no reasonable excuse has been provided to ignore Blueprint Irondale. Blueprint Irondale clearly calls for this property to be parks and protected open spaces. It's currently zoned institutional, which was intentional, as institutional churches and schools serve as a natural buffer between residential property on one hand and a busy highway or commercial properties on the other. To remove this buffer by building a commercial for-profit gym recreation center on this property will destroy the property values of the surrounding neighborhoods by inevitable noise and light pollution that will result and will create a cascading erosion of property values down Carl Daly Road and beyond. My neighbors and I have invested everything into our residential properties based on the implicit representations made by the city in its zoning maps and comprehensive plan that our residential properties would be free from noises and lights that naturally flowed from an enterprise such as a recreation center. Fairness. It seems contrary to basic fairness to allow one individual to get what he wants at the expense of an entire neighborhood. And let me be clear, we are not against a gym or against Mr. Cheney. And we want a gym in Irondale to serve the youth and the elderly, but we're against a gym that abuts our residential neighborhood, especially when commercial property is available down and across the street on Old Leeds Road, right next to the schools. You will hear from my neighbors tonight about how the owners of this property have failed to provide any plans for the structure to be built, have already violated city ordinances with clear cutting the property, and have already violated ADM requirements for the property. You will hear how they have already been personally affected and how they will be affected in the future by this proposed recreation center. You will also be provided with a petition signed by over 100 neighbors of the property. And let me end by asking each of you this question. Would you want a commercial for-profit gym built next to your house? Of course not. And if that is the case, then I ask you to follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if you follow that simple but profound rule, you must vote no as to this rezoning request. Thank you.
Procedural question, Councilwoman Cuellar. No, that is a comment that would normally be given during comments on agenda items or in public hearings. What was the reason for allowing him to take your time? I know a lot of times we bring up subject matter experts, things of that nature. I just need you to explain your rationale about giving the citizen more time than we typically
I'm
allow
happy to
during
explain the
comments.
rationale. The rationale being that when we first had this hearing, the gentleman, Mr. Cheney, requesting the rezoning was given 25 minutes to make his case, and the residents were only given 2 minutes. I wanted to give him 3 to 5 minutes of my time so that they could have the same fairness that we gave Mr. Cheney. That is why I gave him the time.
I appreciate that, and I recognize your explanation. Now, Mr. Cheney was also the one that was bringing the rezoning. Oftentimes during a public hearing, when there's a rezoning, we allow the presenter, to fully present the situation. So just going forward, I would just ask if you're going to share your time with someone that you just send me a quick email, just so I can be expecting it. I don't want to set a precedent, is what I'm getting at.
Okay, sure thing.
Fair enough?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Does that conclude your report, Councilwoman
That concludes
Cuellar?
my report.
Councilman Box.
Okay, thank you, Council President. Wow, glad to see everybody here tonight. You know, guys, we got a great city. We got a great God over this city. Let's not open the door through strife to problems. We can try to be fair. We can do the best thing that's right. But arguing, dissension, casting aspersions, all those things are wrong. Now, I'm actually should be reporting on public safety, the abatement board, senior citizen center. But I just feel it's more important to encourage all of us. Yes, we're passionate. Yes, there's things we like. There's things we don't like. In deliberations, I'll share some other stuff when we deliberate this item specifically. But either way this goes tonight, seek peace and pursue it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Sims?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out. I'm glad we have so much participation. I just have an announcement that the Holiday Gardens Neighborhood Association will be meeting next Tuesday at 6:30 at the Irondale Senior Activity Center. So if you live in Holiday Gardens, come out and join us. And I also am glad to be back. I was on vacation for the last meeting, so that's it. Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And then as far as my report, happy to see that y'all traveled safely. Councilman London and Councilman Sims, glad to see y'all came back to us safely. I'm going to spare any report for basically, we're going to try something different around public comments tonight. Okay. So this is going to be a trial by fire. We're going to see how it goes. All right. What we're going to do here is normally we would deliberate and we would approve an agenda. And then once we had the agenda approved, we would accept public comments on the agenda items. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to go ahead and we're going to deliberate the item one by one like we normally do, okay? But we're going to go ahead and accept public comments on that particular item, and we're going to go one by one tonight. So instead of just doing a massive scattershot of public comments on any item that might be on your heart, we're going to deliberate the item. I'm going to ask for public comments on that particular item. So if we're deliberating it, that's what you need to talk about when you come up here. So if you've got an agenda in your hands, find the one that's passionate, and that's the one, you want to go ahead. And obviously we have a rezoning case. It's at the very, very end. So we will have a public hearing and basically deliberate in a public hearing and accept comments on the rezoning at that time. Okay, fair enough?
Council
Thank you.
President Spivey, can I just get some clarification? Are you saying that a resident that may want to comment on 3 items is now only going to be allowed to comment on 1 item?
No,
Or
and I
as we get to each item, will
Yeah.
they be able to comment on
Yeah.
each item?
I understand that and maybe the way I said it, but no, absolutely. If there's multiple items that someone wants to comment on, they can. I just want to make sure that the item that you're passionate about is not overlooked and we don't move past you. Fair enough? Does that
Point
explain?
of order real quick, President
Sure.
Spivey, since it didn't get mentioned. There will still be a time for public comments on non-agenda items if there are people here that would like to comment on something that's not on.
Absolutely. Yep. That's still staying where it is. Thank you. Does
Thank
that
you.
satisfy?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Perfect.
Can I make one comment on my report that I forgot?
Yeah, sure.
I also wanted to mention the back to school bash last night. It was amazingly attended. Thank you for everyone who was involved. There were so many different businesses that came, different organizations that were here supporting the children, supporting the schools, people from all the different schools. It was super crowded, super hot, but got to ride the train. Hopefully you did too. And it was amazing. So thank you for everyone that came together to put that on.
Thank you. And I will briefly piggyback on that. I did not expect it to be so big. I came around that quarter and I was like, holy smokes. There are so many students, so many teachers, so many football players and cheerleaders out there. I mean, it was really, really cool. Church of the Highlands came out. Pastor McClure, your church, was handing out vegetables and everything. So there was a tremendous amount of community involvement. I did not expect it to be that well. I mean, I didn't realize how big it was, I guess, until I turned the corner. I was like, oh my goodness. So my daughters had a great time. I hope if you attended with kids or grandkids, y'all had a great time too. So thank you for reminding me of that. All right. Now that we're past council reports, what we'll look for is public comments to the council on non-agenda items. These are the items that are not on your agenda. Yes, ma'am. Non-agenda. And due to the crowd size, I will be enforcing the 2-minute timer on comments.
I am Mary Scherer from 5276 Amber Hills Road. I have spent a week really digging through the financials that our bond folks sent to us, but also through our budgets, through our resolutions, through all sorts of things. One of the things I did want to say is that I am shocked to find that we are having increases in expenditures of large sizes. I think you mentioned possibly a $7 million increase on a $10 million project. Resolution 2023 R80 was a $10 million project with a $3.9 million increase. The increase was approved 2 months later. So it was brought to attention, it was approved, but the project shouldn't go under construction or under, there shouldn't be things happening without, the architect should not be moving forward without approval from the council. So that's my one not on the agenda. The second one is, in the audit, I was I know I'm hurrying.
You're good.
The audit showed that we have a poverty rate in Irondale of 15.1% based on the 2020 census. And we need to keep that in our mind as we spend a lot of money. We have a lot of parties, we do a lot of things, but we really need to keep in mind those who are poor. We need to remember that we have immigrants coming in and going out, whether they're staying or not. But we need to be sure that hopefully as we move forward in next year's budget, that we also target some of those issues that we have with the poor, that they truly are part of our city. They're not going anywhere. Thank you.
Ms. Shear, can I just ask a question? Do you have a background in finance? You stated that you looked through all of our reports.
I do. I have.
What is that in?
I have.
Point of order.
I'll allow. I'm curious as to the specialty. Okay. Keep it brief, please.
Yes, sir. I worked for 12 years at Protective Life, head of the Treasury Department. Went to Surgical Care Affiliates, the head of the Treasury Department for 5 years. Walter Energy International Treasury, 7 years.
If
Thank
y'all need
you.
to speak further, please do it offline.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on non-agenda items? Non-agenda items. Feel free. Come on.
Good evening. I'm Bob Kopus. I'm the Executive Director for Crime Stoppers of Metro Alabama. This is Ken Atkinson. He's the TIP coordinator. Just want to let you know that Crime Stoppers came to Birmingham in the early 1980s. It was run by the Birmingham Police Department. It was staffed by the Birmingham Police Department. It belonged to the Birmingham Police Department. Back in 2005, it moved away from that and became a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We have a board of directors, and we have a part-time staff. But no one in the staff is a sworn officer except for one deputy who is a liaison. So the reason for that is when you call Crime Stoppers and you want to be anonymous, we're not police officers. We don't have to tell anybody anything, but we don't know who you are. We keep that anonymity. Since 2018, I have been the executive director, and I came in, I've tried to retool Crime Stoppers. It's perceived to here to help law enforcement. And a lot of that, what they do does, because we get tips about crimes. But actually, what Crime Stoppers needs to be doing is creating safe communities. And we've retooled to that theme. And it's obviously beginning to work, because in the first 6 months of this year, we have now done more tips, solved more cases, and paid out more tips than in all last year. So we are staying very, very busy, particularly for people who are part-time. So we just want to let you know that we're here for y'all. Every single citizen here, this is Crime Stoppers. Nobody wants to have violent crime on their street. A police car riding up and down the street helps that situation, but the people who live there have to be encouraged to step up and say, I know something, I know who did that. But they're afraid, particularly in areas where it's really crime-ridden. And so Crime Stoppers says, wait a minute, we're going to allow you to remain anonymous, and we're going to give you a reward if what your tip pays out, and you're going to get a violent offender off the ground. Just past week, 2 weeks ago, we started this new program with the U.S. Attorney's Office, where we try to get these switches that they put on Glock weapons. You pull the trigger, and it's a full automatic. We're wondering if it works. So far, we've had 35 tips, and last week, the Alabama Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms said that they've arrested 2 people and seized 2 people with switches. So it works, but it works not because we're great. It works because the people believe in it, and they believe in keeping a safe city. And so we're here for y'all. That's what we want to do. We hope that you can find a way to support us, but we're here for you no matter what. We now cover 8 counties, and we do a lot of work in St. Clair County, Shelby County. Obviously, we still get more cases in Birmingham in 1 week than probably the rest of it does in the whole year, but we're working on that. We know, though, that it's only going to work best if we all work together. And we just appreciate y'all allowing us up this time. and we thank you for any consideration.
Hold on one second for
Sure.
us, fellas. All right. So I was gonna have y'all come up during I couldn't see your logo when you stood up from
yes.
here. Yeah, so
Yes,
I
Crime-
didn't realize who you were and everything. That's why I said, yeah, sure, come on. Normally I would have had you come up during non-council committees. So, but we'll just go ahead and roll with it. We've already
almost finished
the
it.
toothpaste is out of the tube, right? So since they were on the agenda, we've obviously had some conversations about what our agenda has kind of shaped through this evening, which we will reveal to the crowd as we move through deliberation. But since they are presenting, I want to see if there's any questions. Councilman London, do you have any questions for these presenters?
Good to see you, Chief.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
I have no questions. I want to thank you for the information you provided. Good to see you too, Chief.
Councilman Box.
Just to thank you for your service, guys.
Okay. Councilman Sims.
Yeah, just thank you for everything you do. Thanks for coming
Thank
out.
you.
And same goes for me. Thank you for everything you use. I know I see it on the news. It seems like you guys have got some traction. I'm hearing more and more about, okay, this case came in through Crime Stoppers. We did XYZ. I don't recall hearing that a few years ago. So whatever it is you're doing is working. So thank you for taking the long drive and everything. And we want to make sure you had an opportunity to present tonight. And Chief Atkinson, it's great to see you, man. It's great to see you. You just can't retire, can you, man? You gotta keep coming back.
I'm glad he won't.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
fellas.
so
Y'all have a fantastic evening.
Thank
Oh,
y'all.
did you have a comment, Mayor?
No, I was just
Okay.
waving to the
Okay,
chief.
gotcha. My bad. Thank y'all so much. Any other comments on non-agenda items?
My name is Sergey Kilich. I live at 1319 Marion Drive. I'm a teacher here in Jefferson County, and I noticed the last couple meetings, which I unfortunately was not able to attend, there's a lot of talk about what we can do to improve our schools. Well, folks, if you look on the Hire True website, you'll see there are 10 bus vacancies just in the Irondale city limit. So that goes Grantswood, Irondale Community, Irondale Middle, and Shades Valley. 10 of those. There's 4 CNP positions and countless number of substitute paraprofessional openings. All right, if we go and complain about the problems, the least you can do is make sure that you're part of the solution. All right, so hiretrue.com on Jefferson County, jeffcoed.com. Look it up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. My name is Rosemary Allen, and I'm with the Irondale Youth Sports. And we have about 200 kids that are playing with our youth league, and about maybe 150 in football and about 50 cheerleaders. And so we are asking for a little donation to assist with those kids that are less fortunate. And I believe in the past we have been able to get monies from the council, but we are asking for something for this year as well.
Have you worked with a particular council person in the past?
I didn't, but I'm the treasurer.
Yes, ma'am.
Trey Chiney
Yes, ma'am.
has done so in the past.
Okay. Does anybody want to step up and take point on a conversation with this young lady? I do. Okay. You would be my logical choice being over Park and Rec. So pair up with Councilman London and we'll see if we can do something.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you. Any other comments on non-council agendas? Non-council agenda items. All right. Fair enough. All right. That being said, do we have any reports from any boards or non-council committees? Sorry, non-agenda items. I said that wrong. I apologize. Did we have any other comments on non-agenda items? No more comments on non-agenda items. Now, any non-council committees, would y'all like to make a comment? Any other non-council committees? Any social groups? I'm saying this repeatedly because I see so many Mounties back there, so I didn't know if I want to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Okay, fair enough. Then we'll keep it rolling. All right. We're going to go ahead and start our deliberation on agenda items only. We'll start with our consent agenda. But before we get started, I made a comment about the maybe some modifications that have been made to the agenda. So if you do take a look at your agenda item, your agenda is there. We're going to, as far as consent is gone, we're going to take off 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those will be postponed. Okay. 6 will remain. Item number 7 and in regular agenda will remain. Items number 8, 9, and 10. We're going to ask to postpone, and then the rest remain with that public hearing at the very, very end. We'll still go ahead and address the agenda items as numbered. I'm not going to worry about renumbering them because we got a lot on here and that's confusing enough. So we'll allow them to stay numbered the way they are, and we'll just move forward. So that being said, number one, consent agenda. Resolve that Resolution 2024 R80A amends Resolution 2024 R80 declaring a 2015 Chevrolet Tahoe from the police department as surplus and authorizing the disposal of such vehicle by Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee through donation to the Pickensville Police Department to modify the VIN number of such vehicles set forth in the resolution. Chief, would you like to fill us in on this one? Did he step out? It's pretty clear cut. Is there anything you guys would like to say about that? Okay, gotcha. Do you have any questions, Councilman London? Chief
No
stepped
comment.
out. Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I think it's a good thing we're helping out the other smaller cities.
I agree. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. I think this is about the second time we've helped out another municipality, so I appreciate our chiefs looking out for the other municipalities. That being said, any comments on item number one? No comments on item number one. All right, moving along. Item number two on the consent agenda, resolve that Resolution 2024 R125 authorizes the execution. I'm sorry, never mind, my bad. My notes were on the right-hand side, not the left. All right, moving on to item number six. Resolve that Resolution 2024 R129 approves the provision of in-kind services. Someone has a cell phone that is continuing to go off. If y'all could address that. And ring cameras for that matter. Thank you for addressing that. Starting from the top, resolve the Resolution 2024 R129 approves the provision of in-kind services by the city for Marty's GM October Party on September 21st, 2024, and declaration of public purpose for the same. The funding for this provision of these in-kind services shall be split equally between 23-24 FY discretionary fund of Councilor David Spivey and the 23-24 FY discretionary fund of Councilor Robert Box. Obviously, this is a co-sponsored item. What I do want to address first, because I did hear some chatter, Marty's GM has done this. They didn't do a St. Patty's Fest last year, but a year before that, and then the year before that, they did do a St. Patrick's Day festival up there at Marty's GM, where we did the exact same thing, where we basically supplied a dump truck for excess garbage, which is part of the public purpose number one, and then we usually provide a few Irondale police officers for security, which is the second aspect of the public purposes. So this is technically the third time that we have done this. So this is basically just the city approving the item. The owner, Phil from Marty's, already has his agreement in with the property management company. He has been allowed to do this through them. This is just the city allowing this to happen and also issue the in-kind services. Councilman Box, that's my spiel on it. Is there anything you would like to add?
No, I just, it's one of the very few restaurants we have left here, so I think it needed to be supported in that realm. It's also a great opportunity to go out on the highways and the byways and minister some people that might need it at that time.
Fair enough. Councilman, any questions on that item?
No, I don't know about ministering at this party, but no
Jesus said the ones that are well don't need the physician.
no comment.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
All right, Councilman Sims?
I know they've had events in the past like this, and they seem to draw a lot of people, and glad they're doing it again. Thank you for supporting it.
And I appreciate them bringing people to the city. Any questions on this particular item? Any questions on this particular item? All right, moving on. So that would take care of the consent agenda. Moving on to the regular agenda item, number 7, resolve that Resolution 2024 R1.
Council President Spivey?
Yes.
That's a consent item.
It's-
Are we good with just putting that on consent?
Item number 6, the one, the Martin's
Yes.
GM. I've got it under consent. Oh, thank
Okay.
you for stopping me.
Yes.
I'm getting used to this whole
Yeah.
comments during things. Yes, do you agree to keep item number 6 on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Same goes with item number 1.
Yes.
Outstanding. Thank y'all so much for that. Item number 7 on regular, resolve that resolution 2024 R130 authorizes the execution of a construction change order with J.D. Morris Construction Company, Inc. for the TAP sidewalk project for an increase of $3,810 and for a new total contract sum of $664,002.16. Mr. Pennington, this has your name on it. Would you fill us in?
This TAP grant was actually signed 2022 is when we did this TAP grant. It's a sidewalk project from in front of City Hall, down 2nd Avenue, up 16th Street, connecting to 5th Avenue to the existing sidewalk. In doing the walk around after completion of the project, this being an ALDOT project, it's 80-20 split. We'll receive, I think it's $528,000 back of this that we prepaid. When we got to the 17th Street, 5th Avenue connection there, where there was no sidewalk before, there was a set of steps that was already there. And after we started doing the walkthrough, ALDOT did not like the steps. They said that it was a hazard, and they wanted those steps to be changed and completed, which was not the original scope of work. J.D. Morris, the company that did the work, did an excellent job. If you go and look at all the extra that they actually did under the contract price, I mean, they were exceptional. This $3,810 is for a set of steps, the adjustment on the sidewalk, and handrails at, I think it's 1725 5th Avenue. Once this is paid and completed, we'll get our 80% back that we've already paid.
Thank you. Councilman Lennon, any questions for Mr. Pennington?
So it's a change order.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The original contract was $660,000. This is extra $3,000.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing it to us.
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask, Mr. Pennington, is, you know, it is 80% funded by the state, 20% by the city. Will that still fall under it, or are we just going to pay it outright? Very
Yeah,
good.
we have to pay anything above the
Okay.
660.
Is this budgeted?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. The
So what's our
660 was
source?
budgeted. It'll have to come from the general fund.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Those were my questions.
Councilman Sims?
Thank you. Well, we have to run this through the ordinance procedure.
We will run it through ordinance procedure.
Thank you.
And I have no questions. Thank you very much. Moving past 8, 9, and 10, on to item number 11. Resolve the resolution 2024, I'm sorry, any questions about that particular item? The item that Mr. Frank Pennington just spoke on, any questions about it? Fair enough. Item number 11, resolve that resolution 2024 R134 authorizes the conveyance of real property for public purpose from the city of Irondale to the Public Building Authority of the city of Irondale for the construction of new facilities for the use of the city. Mayor, is there anything you care to say about this agenda item?
Get my mic turned on. The only thing that I would like to say about this agenda item, for us to be able to use the Public Building Authority, the buildings have to belong to the Public Building Authority. So we're now transferring the title from the city to the Public Building Authority to be able to use those funds to construct the new facilities, which would be the library, the admin, as well as doing modifications to the Civic Center.
Thank you. Councilman Lennon, any questions?
No comment.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. Any comments on this particular agenda item? All right, moving forward.
Can we move that one to consent?
There's no monetary. I'm fine with moving to consent if the body would allow it unanimously. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it will stay on regular. Item number 12, resolve that resolution 2024 R135 authorizes the acceptance and execution of 2 change orders from the Rotolo Consultants, Inc. for the Ellard Dog Park project for a new total contract sum of $881,375 even. Mayor, I understand this is a reduction.
It is. It is actually 2 change orders combined into one, but the net value between the two is a savings to the city, and that amount is $11,205.
Okay. Councilman London?
When we saving money, we'll take it.
Well, let me rephrase that. It's
11,000.
$11,205 decrease. It's a $6,380 increase, which is a net savings of somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000.
Okay.
right.
Councilman London, with the modification of the comment.
I'm good.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good with it. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
No questions, thank you.
And I'm good with it. Would we all be willing to put this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, everybody says yes. Item number 12 on consent. Before we move on, any other questions about this particular agenda item? No questions about this agenda item. All right. Item number 13, resolve that resolution 2024 R136 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Hiller Birmingham in an amount not to exceed $740 for the performance of a flow test at the new fire station property. I don't know if Chief McDaniel is here to speak on this, or if there's anything you would like to say,
Chief is
Mayor.
not here, but this is just a flow test to determine the water pressure for the new facility at the fire station, or the new fire station facility that will be located off of John Rogers.
Okay. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No, I mean, this is budgeted, is it not? It's a small amount.
No, it's not a budgeted amount.
So we'll have to go to three-step?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
hoping we could add it for consent as well. Councilman Box, any questions?
No, I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
All right. And myself, no questions. All right. Any questions on that particular agenda item before we move on? Okay. Item number 14, resolve that resolution 2024 R137 authorizes the purchase of a Victory sweeper on a 2024 Isuzu chassis for use as a street sweeper from Sansom Equipment Company in an amount not to exceed $206,435. I know it had, my copy had Mr. Doss's name beside it, but Mr. Pennington, I believe this is yours?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a combination. This sweeper was already approved on the capital budget.
Thank you.
We're just bringing it to you to let you know that what we're going to use it for. We'll use it for the Civic Center parking lot. And if you've noticed our streets, especially along the bridges and 20th Street and 78, we constantly have someone out there with a blower and we can't keep it clean. It just stays trashy. This will improve our city, all of our city streets, also old downtown. It'll help tremendously. It's something we've needed for years, and we can finally afford it. So we brought it forward for the capital budget, and y'all had already approved it. We just wanted to let you know that we were fixing to order it and the cost.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
So if we've already approved it, we've got it budgeted, right? Very good. Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm happy to hear it. How many miles do we have, Frank, in the city is going to be working on?
We have actually 18 square miles of city,
Right.
which is probably around 400 miles of roadway.
Plus our parking lots and
Yes.
plus construction sites that don't clean up their sites, we can go
Yes,
do that and build them for it.
you wouldn't have to go 100 feet from this building to see where it needs to be used.
Very good. Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Councilman Sims?
When will it be here? When will it start working?
Probably take about 3 months to get it.
Okay.
No question.
So by the time all the leaves are falling?
Yes, I think so.
Outstanding.
Now, it actually, just in full disclosure, doesn't work good for a leaf machine. We have that.
Okay.
We're blessed to have that. So,
Okay.
but it does great in cleaning bike lanes. So people will enjoy that.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
just have a follow-up, Frank and
Yes, ma'am.
David, if I may. On this sweeper with Sansom Equipment, we're not, because they're under the state's,
Yes, it's a Sourcewell contract.
right, that's a contract. We don't have to go through the bidding because they do it themselves.
And we actually priced this under 2 contracts with 2 separate bidders. This
Right.
one being the best price and also the best unit. So
Yes, thank you so much for pointing that out because I know I'll be asked that question and it does fall under the state.
Yes,
So thank you so much.
Mr. Doss, I see
I
you over
was-
there. Okay. Backing him up. Okay, fair enough.
Yes, I was surprised about we weren't asked how we're going to pay for it. We're going to actually pay cash. So we're not financing anything. We're going to pay cash to purchase this item.
Copy. So we have a funding source, so just asking, would anybody be willing to put this on consent?
Yes.
The body
Yes.
agrees. Outstanding. Thank you all. Does anyone have any questions about that particular agenda item? No questions about that agenda item? Fair enough. Item number 15, resolve that resolution 2024 R138 declares the weeds, overgrowth, and noxious vegetable matter located on the premises located at 3520 Stonehenge Place, Irondale, Alabama 35210 creates a public nuisance and should be removed from such premises. Officer Larley, would you care?
This particular property is a repeat offender. We're continuously having to deal with this property. The property owner has basically refused to clean the property. We've tried to subpoena him to court on multiple occasions. He's never shown. It's gotten to the point to where the weeds and overgrowth are encroaching onto other properties in adjoining neighborhoods. And we're receiving complaints from these neighbors. The city, it's to the point the city's gonna have to intervene and clean the property. I went today and took photos. Multiple vehicles are blocking a gate to get into the backyard. The city's already cleaned the property once. They could only clean the front yard. They couldn't get into the backyard because of the vehicles. We tried to speak with legal to come up with a solution to get the vehicles moved to be able to get into the backyard. The pictures I took today, standing beside the fence, less than 30 feet from the house, you can't even see it. Moving back, it's just farther. It's just so thick, you can barely see past the fence. And I have the pictures to show if you'd like to see them.
Thank you. Councilman London, any questions? Or Councilwoman Cuellar?
Just a question. You mentioned the cars that are blocking the entrance. Are we now able to move the cars
That's
so
gonna be a-
that our public works could get back there?
that will be a question for our legal.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
Is this a vacant property or are there people living in the property?
No, it's occupied.
Okay. No other questions, thank you.
So with someone not coming to court multiple times, missing court dates, and obviously putting a system in place to blockade any efforts, are we looking at escalating any? Well, that's probably a legal question you probably don't want to answer right now, but I mean, I'm just going to retract that. Never mind. I'm here. I'm watching my legal over there.
Felt the eyes.
Give me the cut sign.
I just want to make sure that we hold people accountable in the way that they need to be held accountable.
Yes.
Fair enough. This has no monetary value attached to it.
I'll just follow up, and I just want to thank you, Officer Lawley, for everything you're doing to try to keep all the residents around there safe and continuing to work with this issue. Thank you for what you do.
This has no monetary value associated with it. Consent? Do we all agree?
Yes.
You're good? Okay, cool. Do we have any comments on this agenda item? We're good? Fair enough. Item number 16, resolve that resolution 2024 R139 establishes monthly financial reporting requirements for the city's treasurer. Councilwoman Cuellar, this has your name beside it. I know that there's been some movement in the policy. I
Yeah.
believe you're resetting it back to how it was. Is that what you're doing?
No, actually, what this is it's one that we had a finance committee meeting, and I wasn't able to get to this. I think I spoke with you about it, Council President, about a month to month, having the month to month and being able to look at these. And I had actually done a lot of work on it. And then I'm looking at the code, and the code actually spells it out for us. And it says, yeah, the city treasurer needs to provide monthly reports to the city council. So it's adding that. We've got it in the code. That's all this is doing, is putting this here so that we can begin to receive the monthly reports that are showing the actual revenues and disbursements for each month and for year to date, and comparing those against the budgeted revenues and our expenditures year to date.
Thank you. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilman Box, any questions?
No, I think it'll be good. Just a question for Miss Lee. Is this going to be much more difficult for you to do a monthly report on it? I mean, it's already set up in the system, right?
It'll be the same report you receive quarterly, you'll just receive the same report.
Right. And at one time before, weren't we getting it monthly?
Yeah.
Or something similar to that?
Well, you were getting it quarterly.
Okay, very well. Thank you. No further questions.
Councilman Sims?
That was, I guess, my question earlier is, I guess, so what we're getting quarterly, you're asking for that monthly.
Well, no, the code says, it spells it out that's the council's to receive it month to month.
But I mean, it's the same report we're getting quarterly. You're just saying 12 times a year.
You're
versus
getting it
4.
monthly, right, and
Or is
comparing
a
it,
different report. That's what I just didn't know based off of the writing.
Yeah.
If it's the exact same report we're getting more often, or if it's a different set of data.
which, it's month to month, and you've got the budgeted and the actual. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions. Understand the ask. This, we're allowed to ask for this. There's no monetary value associated with it. It's a resolution. Do we approve this for consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Have this board decides. Okay. Please.
Share 5276 Amber Hills Road. I've been going back through the budgets and back through the audit reports, and they're not transparent to us. If you take a look at what's available on the website, we see September 30th financials, which were published April the 30th of this year. What we see last year, that's all we have, both in the budgets and in the the audit, and that's all we have. It's very difficult for us to, I even went to the bond committee meeting and asked the bond folks, I asked the financial person, are we going to get current financials, meaning sometime this year, not September 30th of 2023 financials, so that we will know whether or not we can afford this as a people. Can we afford this? And they said, oh, yes. Well, no, they weren't. In the packet was exactly what I could see on the website. That was it. The budgeted amounts are actually, there's 2 columns, actual, I think it's beginning and actual, but they're the same numbers. So you can't tell whether the budget, like you're going to submit next week, 3 months later, 6 months later, almost close to the end of the year, because we're at 10 months later, is close or not. So that's the question. The other thing is that I went through and added up the capital projects in the budget, which I could find. It said as of 4/30, which was 23.8 million. That was capital projects. This is published on the website. When I went through and added up all of these resolutions that we've had, which included lands, leases, contractors, just all kinds of stuff, 53 million. So what else is not correct?
Thank you.
That was.
Mr. President, can I say something? Not that I'm going to respond to what she just said, but you all remember maybe 3 or 4 months ago, we adopted a resolution to put something on the website called ClearGov. ClearGov will expose all of the city finances for anybody that wants to go out there. We have every capital project out there. We have every fund that's going to be present out there. And as soon as I present the budget on the 22nd, we will release the date for any citizen to have up-to-date information about what's on the budget, because they'll have it at their fingertips to be able to get it. The name of the website will be ClearGov. I think it's City of Irondale at cleargov.com. But I'll make sure personally you get that information, because we definitely hadn't spent what you said that we spent. But I don't have the information. But I just wanted to let everybody know we're adding a web portal with all of the city finances that everybody should see by next month.
Cover that. Thank you. Any other questions on this particular agenda item? All right, moving on. see here, financial reporting. All right, item number 17, resolved that resolution 2024 R140 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute a performance agreement with Essex Music Group LLC as promoter for the City of Irondale's 137th birthday celebration music festival to be held on September 28th of 2024 at Beacon Park in an amount not to exceed $86,600 even. Mayor?
Well, for the last 3 years, we've celebrated the city's birthday. This is the 137th celebration. Last year, I want to say we spent over $135,000 to be able to put this celebration on. This year, this celebration, as well as the Jazz Fest that is going to take place in August, is equivalent or a little bit higher than what the amount was last year for one concert. This time we have 2 for 1. We also have some tourist money that has come in around $15,000 to $16,000 to be able to offset the cost of the concert. This money that we applied for was specifically to be able to put on this celebration, to be able to attract people to come into the city of Irondale and to be able to enjoy our birthday with us. It's going to be Eric Essex is the individual that is we've tapped to be able to put this event on. He is a well-known Billboard artist in his own right. But we will also have Kirk Whalum, Ken Ford, Ruben Studdard, and we also have a local group that I hadn't talked to you about, Eric, it's called Element 11, and then we have one more band that's going to be a part of it. But that's pretty much what it is right there. $86,000 to be able to put on the event. Is it budgeted? Yes, it is. It's in the community events that we had that was a part of our budget from last year. People want to know about community events. We have only budgeted $360,000 for community events. Our budget is around $37 million. If you take $360,000, divide that by $37 million, I think you come up with less than 1% that we're spending to be able to provide quality events for the people in our community, especially since we have a very high poverty rate. This is a wonderful way to be able to put on events where people can come out, they can enjoy it, and they don't have to pay $1 to be able to do it, which we know in these tough economic times now, it would really cause some of these individuals' paycheck to go into a windfall because after all, everybody lives paycheck to paycheck.
Councilman London?
No question. Just want to, it's a budget item. Hope we can put it on consent.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No comments.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good with this. It looks like we're saving money between two for one. So, and as long as and the mayor said we're getting some assistance with it from a grant. I guess it's a grant, Mayor, is it?
We have actually we received 4 grants, and I would like to thank Representative Susan Dubose, also Representative Neil Rafferty, Senator Linda Coleman, and Senator Stan Roberts.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
I have no questions. Thank you. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
No.
No, I'm hearing a no. Okay. Are there any questions or comments? Well, are there any comments about this particular item? Any comments about this particular item? All right, moving on. Item number 18, ordained that ordinance 2024-14 authorizes the issuance of a series of general obligation warrants series 2024 and ratifying and approving various instruments, agreements, and documents in connection therewith. Mayor Stewart, is there anybody that you would like to call up to present that?
I would like to call up our finance team to be able to deal with this issue. They can more eloquently speak to it than I can. We'll have Matthew Arrington, who is our municipal financial advisor. Matt Adams from Raymond James is our underwriter. And Rod Cantor, the best bond attorney on this side of heaven, from Bradley.
Good evening, Matthew Arrington, excuse me, Terminus Municipal Advisors, financial advisor to the city. Just for the record, I'm speaking actually to items 18 and 19. They kind of go together.
Please, thank you.
So I'm doing that. Just happy to announce to the council, as you know, we went to the market today to issue about $17 million in general obligation warrants directly on the city's credit. And then we did another $43 million through the Public Building Authority. We did meet with the Public Building Authority earlier today, and they did approve their portion of it. So what we're here today is to ask for your permission to enter into a bond purchase agreement, which Mr. Cantor can speak to. One thing I just want to say is, if you guys been following news, you probably knew yesterday that we were in a very volatile market situation. Believe it or not, that kind of worked out in our favor. Such that the numbers that you are seeing right now, the annual debt service on this debt is $7.5 million less than what we predicted, what we first showed you guys. That comes out to be a couple of $100,000 per year. So all in all, it was a good sale. Raymond James did a good job, and it was well received by the market. I can answer any questions, but before I do, let me turn it over to Matt Adams from Raymond James, and he can kind of tell you a little bit more about the performance today, and then Rod Cantor can answer any legal questions you may have.
Yeah, thanks everybody. It's good to be here. Thank you guys for having us. So we passed a sheet around. You'll see a couple of things on here. One is kind of a blue box with debt service from the city that the city would be issuing directly. The box in green is the debt service that the Public Building Authority would be issuing, and the city would be paying through lease payments and in accordance with the lease agreement with the Public Building Authority. So let me talk a little bit about what it is that you're looking at here. So we went out and priced bonds today, and the Public Building Authority is rated just a touch different than the city's general obligation credit. General obligation credit is just like your general purchasing. If you were to go in and get a home mortgage as an individual, it would be almost like you're pledging your general obligation as a person. So essentially, the general obligation of a city is just pledging kind of all of the available finances of a city to be able to repay. The difference in the rating, AA versus AA minus, you may ask, well, what does that cost the city? How does that materialize in the marketplace? The Public Building Authority priced at about a 4.13%. The city priced at about a 4.10%. So when you blend the two together, if you looked at everything all together, the blended interest rate is a 4.12%. The reason why it edges up closer to the 4.13 is because the Public Building Authority piece is a little bit larger. So when you put the two together, it carries a little bit more weight. All in all, these are fixed rates. So the city will, if it chose to do nothing, it would make these payments until the final maturity of the bonds. If, for example, rates were to go down at some point in the future, the city would have the ability to refinance this at par after 10 years. So it is callable at par in 10 years or so. I guess one other thing I'll point out, the sale today, we were working off of a market that, if anybody's paid attention to treasury rates or anything like that, they've fallen a little bit over the last 3 trading days. And so we're getting a little bit of benefit from that. And we had a weaker jobs report come in last week, and that caused the market to sell off somewhat and gave us a good launching off spot to be able to issue the bonds. As Matthew said, the debt service on this is about $7.5 million less than it was last Wednesday. So, think about picking up that amount of money in a 3 or 4 day period. It's been a pretty good move for the city to be issuing into this. That equates to about $225,000 to $275,000 a year in lower debt service payments for us than we were last week, which is, I think that's something we can all be pretty proud of. We did have good interest from investors across the board, a lot of different investor classes. So we had mutual funds, we had a lot of money managers, we had some retail and some individuals that bought Irondale's bonds, and some banks. We did wind up with a few bond balances that Raymond James will underwrite and sell at a later point in time. So we kind of felt good about that because we were right on kind of top of the market, where some people looked at the interest rate and said, hey, maybe I don't want this interest rate, so overall, very productive and good sale today. I'll stop and answer any questions you guys might have. Those are kind of the high level basics, but I'm happy to get down in the weeds as you might need them. Any details?
We can go one by one, or how are we doing
You want
this?
to go Rod and come back to questions?
No, I'll, Council President, are
Yes,
we
ma'am.
allowed to ask our questions?
Yes, absolutely. He's
Okay.
presenting.
All right.
I want to go in order, though. Are y'all done with your presentation?
Rod,
I know
you
there's
wanna
three of
say
y'all up here. You're good?
I skipped over Rod. Let Rod speak, and then
Okay.
we'll
Yeah.
go questions. Is that all right?
Absolutely, please.
Thank you very much, Rod Cantor of Bradley. Matt is math. My job is words. Before you is a resolution authorizing the issuance of the general obligation warrants. That's ordinance number 2024-14. Again, that's general obligation warrants, the principal amount of $16,070,000. The ordinance authorizes, in addition to the issuance of the warrants, the execution of a bond purchase agreement or a purchase contract, between the city and Raymond James, under which the city would agree to sell the warrants to Raymond James on the terms that Mr. Adams just described, if that makes any sense. Also, the city is ratifying an offering statement called a preliminary official statement. We've talked about this in the past. That was used to market and sell these warrants to the customers of Raymond James, of Mr. Adams' firm. And also a continuing disclosure agreement that's required under Rule 15 C212 Securities Exchange Commission, and requiring the city to post annual financial information and notices of material events. You have approved and signed and continuing disclosure agreements in your prior general obligation warrant offerings. The second ordinance is ordinance 2024-15. As was mentioned by Mr. Arrington earlier, this involves the Public Building Authority's bonds. This is the $41,920,000 principal amount of limited obligation revenue bonds of the Public Building Authority that are payable, as was mentioned and as we've discussed in the past, by annual lease payments by the city of Irondale. The Public Building Authority did meet, they did approve their financing. As mentioned, y'all are the ultimate credit on these bonds because the lease payments are the sole collateral to secure payment of them. So under this ordinance, the city would approve the lease. Also, what we have the city doing is ratifying and approving the terms of the transaction, which are set forth of the bonds, which are set forth in the indenture, and the form of indenture is included in this ordinance. Likewise, there was an offering statement that the Public Building Authority used to sell these bonds. It's the Public Building Authority's offering statement, but it contains pretty much the same information about the city as in the offering statement for your general obligation warrants. So we have you ratifying and approving that document as well, because of course it is primarily, almost exclusively about the city, its financial posture and material information investors would want to know regarding the city of Irondale. There's an agency agreement. This agreement we discussed before, where the city would serve as agent of the authority in the actual construction of these facilities. Again, the authority is a paper entity, it doesn't have staff, it doesn't have employees. The city does, and therefore the city undertakes to cause the construction of the facilities that it'll be leasing using the proceeds from these bonds that are deposited into a construction account with Truist Bank, where they're held pending use to build these projects. If anyone has any questions about these two ordinances, I'm here to answer them. Thank you.
Before we proceed, real quick, I only read item number 18. As we can all see, item number 18 and 19 are very tied together. So just for the record, I'm going to go ahead and read item number 19, and then we can ask questions from the dais on both of those items, and then we'll accept comments on both of those items. So for the record, item number 19, ordain that ordinance 2024-15 authorizes a lease agreement between the city of Irondale and the Public Building Authority, PBA, of the city of Irondale respecting the lease revenue bonds, Series 2024, also known as the bonds of the PBA, approving the bonds and ratifying and approving various instruments, agreements, and documents in connection therewith. So at this time, council, any questions for these three gentlemen? Councilman London.
Really have a question because I sleep at night and I know you guys are up all night thinking about Irondale, right? And so, I mean, you just gave us a lot of information and I think I just heard hello because you gave a lot of information. So we trust you. Man, I know we've been together a long time and we trust you, Raymond James, your company. You've done well for Irondale. We appreciate that. And I know you guys will be up thinking about Irondale all night, all week until we get these projects done. So thank you for all the work that you do.
Councilwoman Quayle?
Yes, I had some questions on both of the documents for the general obligation as well as the PBA. On page 21, when we're looking at ordinance 2024-14, the first part on page 21, looking at section 25, when we're talking about the improvement fund, it says the improvement fund shall be established, last sentence is there, at one or more banks or financial institutions as shall be determined by the mayor of the city. Shouldn't that be city treasurer and the city council? We are the ones that oversee the finances. And so we should have a say, don't you think, in the banks or financial institutions? And the reason I'm asking that question is because I'm concerned about the service fees that we're currently paying right now with one particular institution. And I would like to have a say in these banks. I want to know, what are we going to be paying to have you maintain this improvement fund? We shouldn't be paying anything, quite honestly. So I'm one of those that, because I am a former banker, I know what we should be paying and what we shouldn't be paying. And so don't we need to change this? Because this is something that a CFO does.
If it is the council's desire to change it, the council certainly can change it. Typically, a city officer is vested with the power to establish the improvement fund where they deem best. The fund is held with an institution primarily to hold the construction fund balance until the money's spent. I did make a misstatement. Truist is named as the initial depository. I think that's the bank where this money will be held. We do reserve the right, though, in the ordinance for it to change, and as directed by the mayor. So you are correct in that regard. If the council determines to change that, it's up to the council.
Yeah, because I don't want us paying money for someone to hold millions of dollars and we're paying fees on that. We ought not be paying any fees on it.
If I may, real quick,
Can I
point of
speak
order.
to
Before we make any assumptions, do you have an answer to the question?
Well, what I was going to say, because they're going to be holding the money, we're not paying fees, we're earning interest.
And that, again,
That's the difference
Let 'em answer
between,
the question.
that's the difference between when you are selling bonds, they ask you to be able to create an account that's separate, but they're not charging you fees on that particular account. That account is actually earning money for the city. And we're also looking at some ways of being able to maximize the money while we have it as well, to be able to earn even more interest. So I say all of that to say that if you all want to change it in the past, you can, but I don't think that's something that we need to be messing around with tonight.
Councilwoman Quayle?
yes, we actually are, in essence, paying a fee if this particular bank is not paying us a higher rate that someone else would. So we lose out, and this is why I'm asking the question. We should be shopping and letting them tell us, how much are you willing to pay us to hold on to this? Because as a banker, they take that money while you're not using it and they invest it and they're making all kinds of returns and we are not. And it's why I think we should be not just looking at one bank, we should be looking at more than one.
One of the legal requirements when investing public funds, particularly proceeds of warrants, is that they can only be invested in certain types of investments. So one of the things and one of the reasons why Truist has been good to identify, at least in this ordinance, is I believe Truist has served as your depository for other construction funds.
That is correct. Since we've been refunding bonds, establishing new bonds, we've always kept it at Truist because that's where we do all of our banking. And when you have construction going on, that means that every time you're turning around, we're having to transfer money from one bank to the other bank to be able to process invoices. So it's not as easy as just saying, let's choose another bank.
Right. And just to answer the councilwoman's question, he is correct, but to answer the question just as precisely as I can, it is up to this council if y'all want to include something that gives the council the authority to change, if you will. The language that we have in here is customary because, again, to the mayor's point, when you're building projects, it's important to be efficient with the use of the funds, efficient with the withdrawals. It can get rather complicated. There's a lot of record keeping. And as I mentioned, there's legal requirements as to how the money can be invested. So
I get all that.
That's
I've
my
seen
answer.
bonds, I've seen warrants, and they usually have the CFO's name on there. It's usually not a mayor. It's why I was asking the question. Okay?
Are you satisfied?
I have some additional questions.
Your time is rolling, so I'm going to go
Well, it
ahead
is
and
rolling, but
I'm going to go ahead and move on to Councilman Box. We'll come back around for a second round. Councilman Box.
I guess the only question I would have on this, Rod, is if we approve it tonight as it stands, and we decided to go shopping for better rates, for moving this big chunk of money into better rates, what is the difficulty of doing that 6 months down the road, 9 months down the road before?
I mean, you can certainly do that. I mean, you're not prohibited from doing it. You would work together as a collective and determine if you wanted to move it.
Okay.
It's a bank. It's a bank account.
I believe what Mr. Cantor is saying is that we could always come back and amend the ordinance at any other given time.
Or you could, yes, you could.
Thank you.
You could. If you could amend the ordinance, or, again, what I'm saying is you would work together and then have the mayor change it. That's specifically what I'm saying. We wouldn't amend the ordinance as much as we would. You could amend an ordinance. We wouldn't want to, though. What we would do is have the council work together, work with the mayor, and then the mayor would change it as he's given the authority to do.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, that's all.
All right, Councilman Sims.
I have no questions.
Okay. A lot of stuff. Thank you very much, fellas.
No,
I'm gonna
I have follow-up.
hang on. Councilman London, based on any additional information that you've heard during some of the conversation, do you have any new questions?
No question.
Councilman Cuellar.
To be quite honest, Council President, you know as well as I know that these discussions should be going on in a Finance Committee meeting. This has been rammed down our throats. I have a lot of questions. I've looked at these things. I'm very familiar with it, and I need time to ask the questions. Looking at
I'm going to stop you for
Exhibit
just a
2.
second. I'm going to allow you to continue, but I'm going to address that because that was out of line. We have been discussing this concept and these amounts for 2 months, 3 months. This is not a brand new thing. The PBA is not a brand new thing. This whole concept is not a brand new thing. And I was never asked to have a finance committee meeting. Continue.
We were just given these things this past Thursday. This is not the general obligation. This is not any of the documentation that we've been discussing. These things should be discussed in a Finance Committee meeting. This was sent to us on Thursday. Then it's on our agenda for a vote. That's the problem. But looking at the
I'll
Exhibit
give
2,
you
the
5
form of
minutes to get your
certificate
questions out.
of
because we are not-
underwriter.
This is a business meeting. This is not a finance meeting. So I will give you 5 minutes to get your questions
We're just
out.
now getting these.
I understand that.
Okay, very
And
good.
if
Glad we're clear.
if your questions are not satisfied, then vote accordingly, is what I'm telling
All right,
you.
looking at page 12 on the Exhibit 2, the very bottom, during the preceding 5 years, the city failed to comply with the prior
I am so
undertakings
sorry. I'm
as
so
follows.
sorry. Do you mind just when you're just let me know which ordinance so I can follow with you?
Same ordinance.
Yes, ma'am. And what page again?
Page 12, the bottom, and then page 13. We failed to comply with the prior undertakings as follows. We did not post our audited financial statements for fiscal years 2020 and 2022 to Emma. We did not post our unaudited financial statements for these fiscal years. We did not post on a timely basis certain financial operating data for fiscal year 2020. We did not timely post notices. All of this, I appreciate you making this public notice here. It's important to have it in a document. We have warrants that are outstanding. We have not been complying with these requirements of Emma. It's also noted in another document here that we're saying we're gonna comply.
Yes, ma'am.
This does not look good. We're not complying, but guess what? We're gonna comply.
Well-
I'm disturbed by it. I appreciate you disclosing it.
Well, we have to disclose it. So
Yes, you do. And we weren't aware of it until I just read this.
Are you asking a question or making a
Yes,
statement?
I'm making a statement. Making a statement.
I thought you wanted additional
No.
time for questions.
I'm making a statement and saying we have it stating later in this document that we will be doing. What assurances do we have that we will be doing this on these new warrants?
sure.
Thank you for the question. So we will be making the filing on behalf of the city on an ongoing basis, and so the instances that are we have to do a 5-year look back when we look at continued disclosure, and we have to report any instances where we've failed to comply. Since I think you mentioned 2022 was the latest one that we mentioned there. We have been the city has been filing those on a timely basis and has been brought up to speed as the point of this issuance. So you are in compliance currently, and Raymond James will be making that filing on behalf of the city on an ongoing basis annually.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
I appreciate you. I know that this has to be, it's public disclosure. You've got to do it because you're selling these warrants.
All right.
And I was very concerned when I saw that. And then we're turning around and saying that we're going to do it. And I just want assurances that we are going to do it because this will cost us if we don't. Moving on to Appendix A of the same general obligation ordinance 2024-14. On the back of A2, I would like this statement changed. General financial information. The city operates on a fiscal year beginning October 1st and ending September 30th. The city prepares a detailed budget for each fiscal year that is approved by the city council prior to the beginning of the fiscal year. We have not been doing that. We have not been receiving a budget for each fiscal year in order for us to approve it.
Point of order, we approved a budget for this fiscal year. There's no mistruth to that statement.
Prior to the beginning, the typical standard with budgeting is you receive your budget in August. You approve your budget in September before the next fiscal year. We have not been following that. As a matter of fact, there wasn't one there for a while. It was simply extended. And I'm concerned because
Is this
we're
a
making
question
these
or a
statements that
statement,
we're going to
Councilwoman
do
Quayle? Is
this.
this a question or a statement? You asked for additional time to ask questions. I gave you additional time that you're not technically entitled to under our proceedings. I gave this to you out of a kind spirit.
Yes, sir, you
Please,
did.
If you are asking questions, ask questions, not make statements.
I am making a statement and saying this really
Ask
isn't
questions.
accurate. So what assurances do we have,
have 30
that we're
seconds. Ask
going to
your
be
questions.
doing this?
Ask your
And then
questions.
moving on, where we're looking at that same page under anticipated debt obligations, it says the city anticipates it will seek financing within the next 12 to 18 months to pay the cost of other buildings in the city of approximately another $15 million. So we're looking at these two, and now we're talking about another 15 million?
Thank
No,
you
no,
for your
I
time.
need an answer to that question.
I will allow an answer to the question, but that we're done with this round.
So as previously discussed in some of our public meetings, the city has several buildings that it was looking to finance. At one time, it was approximately six.
Well, I would answer that, and I want to apologize for the way that you've been talked to tonight, because you really don't deserve to be interrogated as if you're doing something wrong. You're just doing your job, what you need to do for the city. But one of the things that we were asked when we were in New York doing the presentation for the S&P, they always want to know if there's a possibility that you're going to borrow money again in the next 18 to 24 months. I was not going to lie to them and say that there's not a possibility that we're going to do that, because we also have a water department that is a part of the city that needs some improvements as well. Furthermore, for changes to be made to a document, it is not determined by one counselor, but it's determined by the vote of the entire body. If the entire body wants to change something, that's fine. But one person is one vote, and they cannot demand that you do anything other than share the information based on the questions that are asked.
Do you have anything you care to follow up on that, Mr. Cantor?
I do not, other than to say Mayor Stewart's correct. This is simply providing anticipated future financings, because we do have to disclose to the market if there are potential anticipated future financings.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for
Appreciate your time.
responding.
Yes, ma'am.
And
And
if
we
I
are
was rude
moving
to you, I
on to public
apologize.
comments on this
I'm
agenda
issuing an
item.
apology if I came across as strong. I have a right to ask these questions. We have not, this is the
Thank
first
you very
time that we've
much. Do
seen
we have
it.
any public comments on these two agenda items? Any public comments? Come on.
Getting your steps in.
And let's bring the temperature down just a little bit. Thank you.
I'll be
Please.
quick. I'll be quick. Mary Scher, Amber Hills Road. We've only been running about an excess of $5 million a year. And I know that we've increased our revenues. We've got Publix. So it's adding, our sales tax actually increases our revenues by about half, 50% is what our budget comes in from our sales tax. But we don't really know exactly where we are on our finances. So with our $5 million excess, are we expecting it to be higher? We're going to have another $1 million, $2 million, $3 million per year for the next 30 years with these offerings, and was just wondering.
Is this pertaining to item number 18 and 19?
18 and 19, yep,
Okay.
the bonds and the
And-
warrants, because that's the additional debt payments that will
Okay,
be the
I
extra
understand.
lease payments. So that's in my not technical question.
I just want to make sure I understood you.
So that was I was wondering if we have, if it's going to leave us enough excess to buy our fire trucks and our sweepers and our other things during the next 30 years.
Going off of my comment about how this isn't a finance meeting, I'm going to let you take that conversation offline.
Where'd you?
Thank you.
Where?
You can go ahead and you can start with the mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Later.
Any other comments?
Whatever you want to talk about.
Not at this moment with the mayor. At another moment with the mayor. Thank you. If I was not clear. Any other comments on these two agenda items? Any other comments on these two agenda items? All right, moving forward. Item number 20, ordain that ordinance 2024-16 amends section 5A of ordinance 2023-14 to add manufacturing and mobile home community sewer rates for Phoenix Water Resources LLC. We have someone to present. Mr. Lanier, I believe you're here.
Evening, Council. I'll be quick.
One second for us, Lanier. I want to make sure this gentleman is able to exit so that we can devote our full attention to you. Thank you for driving up from Montgomery to see us this evening.
No problem.
Proceed, sir.
Okay. Flushable Whites for the bane of my existence. My two primary issues are at Motion and Eastwood Mobile Home. I've addressed those problems with those particular customers. I've gave them options, and the best option that's met by both of these parties are in the letter that I believe is in your packet. They're both okay with moving forward as stated. No other rates have changed. It's all staying stagnant as the franchise exists. And outside of that, I'm trying to be quick. I'd be happy to answer any questions if need be.
Okay. Councilman London, any questions for Mr.
So you
London?
said no rate change? No rate change?
Not on residential, commercial, or institutional. These are two new rates for the specifics for those particular manufacturing mobile home park. And those are the only two under those particular rate classes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Quayle?
Yep, I looked up the ordinance and I see that, yeah, you've added this. And what were we charging them before this change?
There wasn't a rate for those changes.
There
There wasn't a specific rate for those amounts.
But were you providing sewage services?
I was.
So what were they being charged?
Motion was under the commercial class, and it was 0.1 or 0.01881. And I've spoken with Motion about that, if you have that letter.
Yeah, no, I was looking at the mobile home community.
Yes, ma'am. And that was under commercial as well.
So they were paying
Point
0.018.
Correct.
And now they're going to play 0.019.
Correct.
Which is a small increase, right?
That's correct. They all have their own unique infrastructure in there, which they have three unique lift stations that serve just that property. Things get caught in pumps, break them. And we have to pump out flushable wipes and other items. And again, provided them with options of pass-throughs with those particular lift stations, and they chose that they wanted to go through that rate increase as opposed to just pass-throughs.
So just so that I'm clear, you've stated that you've spoken with the...
Yes, ma'am. It's in a letter. I don't know if it's in the packet or not.
It should have been 2 letters that was a part of your packet, because I asked Lanier that if he would get that from Motions as well as the mobile home park to say that they were okay with increasing the rates, then we would consider it here.
All right, I'm sorry, we didn't receive that in our packet. It's why I'm asking the
Okay.
questions.
Be happy to give it to you if you'd like.
Would you please?
Sure.
Thank you. No other questions.
Feel free to go ahead and, once we finish this line of question, if you want to provide that to her.
Sure.
Councilman Box, any questions for the gentleman?
No, I'm good with those questions answered.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
No questions. Thank you.
All right. And I'm good as well. It's good to see you. Feel free to provide that information to Councilwoman Quayle. It is an ordinance, so I'm not going to ask if it can go to consent in case anybody was wondering. Wait for the floor to clear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this particular agenda item? All right, with no other comments on this particular agenda item, we will move on into our public hearing. Okay. This is a second reading of this rezoning request. So we've had a public hearing once before on the first reading, and it is back now for a second reading. And for clarity and transparency, we wanted to go ahead and have a second public hearing for it. So at this time, I would accept a motion to enter into a public hearing.
Motion or public hearing?
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. So ordinance 2024-08 rezones the property located at 6085 Old Leeds Road, Irondale, Alabama 35210 from an institutional district to a C1 commercial district. There is a name on here, Kennedy. That's the first time I noticed that. Okay. Is there anything that you need to share with us before I call up the presenter? Fair enough. Thank you. Do I have anybody to represent this rezoning case? Please, sir, come on up.
I'm just gonna say one thing. At the last loaning meeting, everyone said that they did not want us to have the football or field. It wasn't a football field; it was actually a turf training facility on the back. We took it off. Okay. They said they were worried about the lighting, so we made sure that the lighting shines straight down, so it wouldn't be a problem for the neighbors. And then they, Councilman Box implemented the noise ordinance to say that we have to not play loud music for a certain time and then after a certain time. And we decided we would do that as well. So we made all of the adjustments to make the neighborhood at peace and want to allow us to put the gym here. That's where we at. Other than that, I'm going to turn over to our architect and let him allow you to tell you exactly what's going here. A lot of times people ask me questions. I'm just a coach and a trainer. A lot of it's over my head, but he knows a little more about it. I wish I could get this much participation on Wednesdays and Saturday boot camp. It is what it is at this point. So I'm going to turn it over to Robin and we'll go from there.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Good evening, councilors and mayor. Thank you. I'm Roman Gary. I'm the architect for Trey Cheney. I'm with CCR Architecture and Interiors here in Birmingham. We design a lot of facilities, and what I'm here today to do is just speak truth and honesty to what this facility is and what it is not. I'm clearing up what we've designed on paper as of today. So all this facility it's a fitness gym. That's all it is. Similar to Planet Fitness or Gold's Gym or Orange Theory. There are no outdoor components to this building. So it's going to function just like other fitness gyms that you see around town. Outdoors, we don't have any speakers or anything designed on the construction document. So there is no noise. From a lighting standpoint, the only lights we have are in the parking lot, and that's to meet city ordinances and codes. So there's no extra lighting. I'm just clearing things up. There's no football field outside. All this is a fitness gym that you see any other place. Regarding the landscape buffer, I confirmed today with the site work contractor, he has maintained a minimum of 20-foot buffer on the back side of the property. Confirmed that today. In some places it's 30 feet, and I understand with the residents, it was fully forested. So to see that 20 feet, it looks like they cleared the whole site, but that meets the city ordinances. We have also updated the exterior elevations to meet the city's masonry facade ordinance. So the building is masonry to meet the city's ordinance. And that's where we are. That's all it is. It's not outdoor activities. It's just a fitness gym where Mr. Cheney trains athletes, and he has physical fitness programs for kids. That's it.
Fair enough. Before we take any comments in the public hearing, Councilman Lennon, any question from either one of the presenters or just comments in general?
No, well, just comment. I've heard from, a lot of people, heard from both sides, and I appreciate all the emails that I've received for the last, 6 months?
Yes.
And I appreciate all of it. But the term that's been used a lot around here is constituents. And so I've heard from mine. And so I'm ready to move forward, whether it's go up or whether it go down, but I'm ready to move past this part of it, because I think in the long run, this has given the city a little black eye. This one incident, whether you know it or not, it has. It has given us a black eye. So it's time to move forward with this, and I'm ready to move forward, whatever.
Fantastic. Councilwoman Cuellar?
I have no questions for the gentleman, but I am wanting some clarity. Are we going to have the opportunity to deliberate the way we always do on an ordinance?
We normally, in a public hearing, we normally deliberate inside the public hearing. We ask any questions that we have and we deliberate on it.
Between the council?
Yes, absolutely. Please feel free.
Okay. All right. First of all, and this is not towards you, sir. This is addressing the council. I'd like to address the comments that were made at our last public hearing about one of the residents stating that during the P&Z meeting, they felt like they were going back in the 60s. I want to set the record straight here because, as you know, I was the only one that was at the P&Z meeting. And I was there, and I am a minority, and I know racism and discrimination when I see it. And Mr. Cheney was not discriminated against by anyone, nor were racist comments made by anyone. In
I want to say
fact,
point of order on this. Can you keep
No.
it to the item?
this is the item.
No, this
I
is
want to
not the
address
item.
it now
You're reviewing
because
P&Z
these comments were
meetings.
made at our public hearing, at our council meeting, and I was not able to respond to those because our deliberation had already taken place.
We often don't get.
It's why I asked the question.
We often hear things that we don't like, and we don't bring them back up and tear Band-Aids off of things. Please keep your line of questioning and comments to the rezoning ordinance that is in front of us.
I will address
I
the
think we
comments in
got-
regards to the ordinance that's in front of
Question,
us.
we have a guy that presented something, need a question, right? Point of order?
Well, I
We
mean,
should be asking
she
questions
can
to
make
the
she can make
presentation.
comments. I'm fine with her making
Yeah,
comments.
but
I just need it. I need it
Not those
on
comments.
the item.
Yeah.
Please.
On the item.
Yes.
Has anyone been held accountable and fined for clearing land zoned institutional before the ADEM permit was approved April 1st of 2021? I don't think anyone has been fined. If they have, I'd like to know. Has anyone been fined for storing building materials on the property currently zoned institutional in February 2024 and later while unloading after 10 p.m.? I don't think anyone has been fined. The ADEM permit does not appear to protect the developer when local laws are broken before or after the ADEM permit is approved, and no one was held accountable. Does an ADEM permit allow a developer to violate our city's laws? Do we tell our residential citizens that we can change the zoning at will because development is inevitable? Are we establishing this now as a precedence? Are we saying that Blueprint Irondale is no longer relevant? Gentlemen, we really need to take time to realize that our decisions have consequences. We owe it to our residents, who are citizens of this city, to make wise judgments. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. To Mr. Cheney and to all the neighbors here, it's unfortunate that in the course of our human experience, we can't learn how to get along and work things out. I presented a couple of different options that possibly could have worked this out a different way, but those didn't really gain traction. So it basically just comes back down to a vote point tonight. Basically, I feel like I'm kind of in Solomon's place. If I had a sword and the baby, then each of you get half, but that's not going to work out this way tonight. So it's unfortunate that it has to go one way or the other, but that's just the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Sims?
As Councilor London stated, we have heard from many people the last several months. I've met with several people. I've stood in people's yards. I've talked to Trey. I have gone back and forth in my head, one way all the way to the other, probably 110 times in the last 30 days, dreading tonight, yet here we are. At this moment, I still have no idea which way I feel. But I do have a question for you, sir, since you're probably the only person that can answer it. One thing I have heard is noise and metal building. You've got facade coming up. How soundproof is this building going to be?
It's going to be just as soundproof as any conventional construction is. All we have, the structure is a metal building frame, but we have updated the facade to have masonry on it. It's got insulation in it, just like any other building. So it will not give off any noise more than any other conventionally constructed building. So yeah, we've made those adjustments.
I also, it's a public hearing. I want to hear from the public and any other questions later.
Thank you for having something to kind of look at. I will say is once we shift into the public comments piece on this, I would ask you to just kind of turn that so that everybody can see it. Because I know right now it's for our benefit.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I would like to apologize. I didn't know how many people to expect, and so I would have brought additional copies, but I did not know, and I did plan to turn them to the
Okay,
residents.
thank you.
So.
Can I ask one more question about the diagram? On the top right picture,
Yes.
where is Old Leeds Road?
Old Leach Road would be to the right of that
Okay.
top right picture.
And then underneath that, where you've got the
so
court,
what
that is
they-
interior, correct?
Correct. The elevation with middle elevation to the left with the red, that is the elevation that would face Old Leach Road.
And what is the rear elevation?
So here's the Old Leach Road elevation, and this is the back elevation right here.
Okay,
Red and red.
thank you.
Yes, sir. I don't have any other comments for you. We'll go ahead and move into the public piece of this. Thank you very much for being with us this evening. If you could twist that, turn that easel around a little bit, I greatly appreciate it. All right. So at this time, I would accept any. So we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have the fours, the rezonings. We're going to have the not for the rezonings, and we're going to have just a comment. Because we've had oftentimes where someone is not necessarily for something, not necessarily against something, they have a hard time figuring out where they fit in. So we're just going to have if you just want to make a regular comment and not be for or against, we're going to have a column for that as well. So I'm going to start. I'm going to do fours. I'm going to do against, and I'm going to do comments. All right. So at this time, I would take any comments for this rezoning. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight on behalf of our son, Manuel Cheney III. We are Manuel Cheney Jr. and Bonita Cheney. We live at 3608 Cherry Brook Run, Irondale, Alabama, 35223. And to assist us, I really do appreciate the work that councilmen have to do when they're running for office, because my husband and I, during the last week, have gone to every district in Irondale, asking people if they are for or if they are against the building of this gym. And what you have before you is the petition that was handed to them, where they were asked to sign if they were for
Pictures.
or against this petition. You should each have 2 copies.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And there are over 210 names. Well, we went to every district, my husband and I. We knocked on doors and we asked the citizens of Irondale if they had any problem with the gym being built. And of course, those persons who you have signed were those who did not have any issues with it. But I did want to make a statement. Our son is an alumnus of Shays Valley High School. He became a national certified trainer in August 2014. Each year, to remain abreast of all training procedures and policy, he has to renew his national certification and is required to be tested in 5 areas to obtain his certification. He is the owner of the business I Am Love LLC. I am his mother, and I was the deputy director for the 1-800 number for Social Security for 35 years. I am the director of I Am Love training facility. The business has operated for 5 years and has never been cited for any business-related offenses, no criminal-related offenses, and no noise-related offenses. The business is a gym. Manuel Cheney III has demonstrated how he values the Irondale community and the people that live in Irondale. He is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. He has forged partnerships with the city of Irondale and the city of Birmingham for several years, where he has held citywide combines by athletes to assess their abilities for future athletic endeavors. He also forged a partnership with the city of Irondale and was involved as the president of the Irondale Youth Sports League, which involves football, basketball, and hopefully in the future baseball. He has also spoken at various schools in Jefferson County to tell his own personal story.
I'm going to pause you for a second. Would you like the gentleman next to you to finish?
Right.
Because I'm issuing 2 minutes on everyone, and I really
Can I read it for him?
if you,
He's my husband.
I figured this was going to happen. So if you want to gift your 2 minutes to her, then I will allow that. So please, you have 2 minutes.
He has spoken at various schools in Jefferson County to tell his own personal story to encourage our youth. His personal story was highlighted as the cover story in the January 4th through 10th, 24 edition of the Birmingham Times. He has also been aired on TV several times in the last 3 years. He has authored a book, which is a detailed account of his own personal testimony. Trey has paid his debt to society, and he is a law-abiding citizen. He purchased the property at 6085 Old Leeds Road in 2020 with an intent to expand his gym business for more space and to accommodate the needs of his clientele. The process has been very tedious, but after obtaining the necessary financing and necessary approval from the state of Alabama for the proposed new building, he has been waiting for the city of Irondale to grant a rezoning and subsequent building permit. He has also been working very closely with Mr. Kennedy, who is the city of Irondale engineer, to ensure he is following all of the commercial building permit requirements, procedures, and codes. This is what was handed to the persons who signed the petition. So I just want to say that there are a number of people in Irondale, the 200 or more that you have on that signed petition, that do not have any issues with Trey having a gym in Irondale community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments for the rezoning? Please.
Is there a certain protocol to what I say?
Nope, you got 2 minutes. It's all yours.
So I'm right.
No curse words.
Well, there you go. That's probably wise.
So I'm Raina Johnson. I live in Bramblewood community. That is the closest community to that new development. And I've been lived there since 2002. Graduated from Shays Valley High School in 2007. I am for this. I don't see any issues of it. The noise, they say you guys are going to close, at 9? I don't think that there's going to be much noise because, there's no loudspeakers like there is at Shades Valley. So the noise I'm not really concerned about. Even if they did have loudspeakers, it would close at 9. And so that would be perfect, perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm for it. I live in the community next to it. I don't see any issue with it. I think it's going to be a great addition to our community. I can definitely see how I will use it and how it could be used by even my parents. Everybody needs to work out more. Personal trainers are awesome. I think it's going to be good.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for your comments. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. She had just told me to do that. We need your name and your address.
Okay, so my name is Raina Johnson, and I live at 1000 Bramble Lane.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other comments for this rezoning?
Mayor, council, my name is Ruben Nelson. I'm the head football coach and athletic director at Shays Valley High School.
And your address, sir?
I live at 5746 Heritage Park Lane, McCalla, Alabama.
Thank you.
We are for this. My principal is Mr. Taki Sahan, and we have written a letter to support Trey. And I Am Love Fitness. Right now, our athletic department We need upgrades, and Trey has provided so much for our school and our kids. This facility would be a buffer. It would be what we need as far as training to put us on the level with the competition that we play. Right now, we are in the toughest 6A conference, 6A region, Mountain Brook, Oxford, Pinson, Clay. The state championship has come through our region the last 10 years. We can't compete as far as facilities are concerned. Irondale has lost pros. Trendon Wofford, his brother, Christian Wofford, they all transferred out. We lost the state player of the year a year ago, and we're constantly losing players because of facilities and facilities upgrades. This would provide an indoor facility, the same as Oxford. Some of the upgrades that Mount Brook has, Trey's providing. This would just give our kids across the board, not just football. Those players that we lost, they have given contributions back to their areas. As you know, Deron Payne gave us $100,000. So when we lose these players, we also lose their future gifts. Jefferson County provides for a great education. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
I have letters that I want to give you guys.
Feel free to distribute them before you sit back down. If the next comment for the rezoning to go ahead and make their way. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just give them a moment to.
Sure.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I would like to properly recognize the mayor and the council. I have my company shirt on, so I have to do the proper greeting. I'm Therese Spencer, the executive director of ClassTran, but I'm not here to represent ClassTran.
And address?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2704 8th Street Northeast. Okay. I'm a member of the gym. I literally travel 40 minutes. That's 20 minutes from my house, 20 minutes to this gym. I passed 6 gyms just to come here because I'm coming to the best gym. Now, as a parent, I would travel from Clay Chalkville to Homewood because I wanted the best for my child, for a personal trainer. I can now imagine the athlete, how they travel. If this gym is rezoned, I can all imagine how they would leave the school and go directly across the street to this gym for convenience. Only if this gym was available when my child was in school, I can assure you my child would attend this gym. So as a member, I would hope that everybody would allow Trey Cheney to have this gym to be rezoned. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for this rezoning?
My name is Kimberly Cook. I live at 4540 Bonnie Way, Birmingham, Alabama. As you know, I am the volleyball coach, and I would love to look at you all because I'm the type to want to look at it because I see so much passion. And what I want you to understand, I've been at Shades Valley for 10 years, and the single most resident that has ever been able to support is Trey Cheney. So many people here, so much resources, and I thank God for him. So what you don't understand is 3 years ago, this man started this program for volleyball. Okay? And I thank you all for the support. But this man started the volleyball program. And what you don't know is we made it to the Elite Eight. And it was because of this man right here. But limited resources. Going to the football field, he believed in my girls before anybody did. And I thank you for that. So I'm trying to get my composure. So that's not I Am Love Gymnasium that you look at. What you're looking at is Shades Valley Gymnasium because he built it for my girls. and he's building it for the athletes, and he's building it for support. That's all I have. And what I want to say is thank you, Councilman Box, for saying what you said. Because at the end of the day, whatever you do, you got to choose peace. So you choose peace in your heart. And what I want you to know is the girls have seen you. And what we are real examples to the next generation. So I ask them to come and see a difficult time that something might happen and affect their lives. And I want you to see there and look them in the face. And so I did come in, and I'm going to ask one of them to talk, to tell them the effects of I Am Love Fitness for them.
Thank you. Are y'all both going to speak on the matter?
Yes.
Okay, you're not going to speak on the matter? Okay, so you've got 2 minutes. If you just make sure you get your name and address.
Hi, I'm Ashley Peak. I live at 704 Terry Lane, Irondale, Alabama. Okay. I've lived in Irondale my entire life, and the effect that Coach Trey has had on my team personally and my school, something that you can't even explain. When I was younger, we used to have like this little league of like between basketball and football, cheerleading, baseball. And as the years went on, it diminished and nobody did rec sports. Everybody had to go somewhere else to do rec sports. In the last couple of years, we've had just so much, I don't even know how to explain it, so much joy and so much encouragement for the youth and everybody. And the amount of kids that are coming back to Irondale is something that we haven't seen in years. Irondale was dead for a long time. You don't see kids outside anymore. I mean, I know we have phones and everything, but there aren't kids in Irondale. There aren't. We usually have, older people or just young couples. We don't have big families in Irondale anymore. But Coach Trey has brought so much to Irondale, and I don't even know how to thank him for what he's done for my team. I don't know how to thank him for what he's done for my school. I don't know how to thank him for what he has done for me personally. And I hope that everyone votes in favor so we can help grow Irondale as what it used to be and even more that it can be.
Thank y'all. For the rezoning, yes, sir? Okay.
Hey, good afternoon. Anthony Jackson, 816 Liberty Lake Drive, Vestavia, Alabama, 35242. I am currently in favor for, and I have some letters. I am the head middle school football coach at Irondale Middle. This is year number 2 for me, and I'm gonna say this is beautiful. Just the amount of people that we will be impacting if, again, we're here for the city of Irondale. The amount of people that we will be impacting if this doesn't go up. And again, you only see a fraction. We're only talking about the schools. We had a lady who said, she said she drives from Clay. The amount of people that you would impact if this doesn't goes up, I think that would be, you use the term black eye. I don't think the city needs any more black eyes. You guys have done a wonderful job of building. Yesterday, I got a chance to come out to the event. Beautiful. Still talking about it. My kids enjoyed it. Let's talk about Coach Trey. And to be honest with you, man, he's been nothing but a blessing to me and my kids. This is year number 2 for me, and I'm looking forward to more. I'm looking forward to year number 4, number 5, number 6. I'm looking forward to, like Coach said, the Deron Paynes to come through and get a chance to cross the street and go work out with a Coach Trey. Not only is he building in the city, he's from the city. Coach, did you go to elementary school here? Did you go to middle school here? And you're a proud alum of the city of Irondale. You brought your business back to Irondale. And I have one question that I'm going to ask, or 2 questions. Your current business is where? Say it louder. Have you had any complaints? I don't see why this is a problem. I don't even see why this is a question or up for discussion. If he brought his architect in and they've met all your arrangements or your agreements, your ordinances. The amount of people, and I'm gonna leave you with this. I have a letter from my principal, Dr. Carter, as well.
Thank you,
but
sir, if you would like to pass
Yes,
that
sir.
out.
That you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for yours. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good handoff.
Thank you.
All right, Gary Ferguson, 3539 Mary Taylor Road, apartment 1002. I personally have been blessed to have been a part of Shays Valley High School for 23 years. I was a part of Shays Valley first state championship team in 2014, Final Four 15. One young lady that Coach Chaney trained, Khadijah Jordan. She worked with my basketball team on last year, as I said. Our first state championship in 14, Final Four 15. On last year, we also made it to the Elite Eight. I've seen this young man, you know, the scripture that came to mind, Matthew 18, except you be converted and become as little children. I've seen the joy, the passion, and the conviction that he's brought. I've seen the personal money that he spent when he first came to Shays Valley. You know, hey, coach, I got it. I mean, buying the kids equipment. I mean, working without any help. When the youth league first started, he didn't have much help at all. And I sat there and watched that man. You know, we was John London years ago, but I watched that man with such excitement and passion because he's from here, attempt to bring that thing uphill and where it should be in comparison to everyone else. Because with what we've been able to do, we can go so much further, as Coach said. I was blessed, Coach Duran and some of these others. They will give the money. They will give the support. They're from Irondale also. All right, so we need him along with the others. Brother, I'm super proud of you, and I'm thankful for each and everything that you're doing and that you will continue to do because of your heart and your passion for the kids of Irondale.
Thanks, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Marsha Kelly Sutton, 211 Candlelight Lane, Irondale, Alabama. For the past year, almost, I've been the interim executive director of the Irondale Senior Activities Center. Before I went, I was going to Trey Chaney's place every morning at 8 o'clock or 8:30 with the young people. Seriously, I didn't do the silver sneaker thing, did I? No. And when I started at the senior center, I noticed this was the mode that everybody, because somebody say they knocked the chairs over. And I didn't understand that. I thought the chairs were just cheap. So I bought some really nice big ones. But it wasn't that. They were rocking because they did not have the strength. They did not have the whatever it is to take to get up. So what I did, so I could continue working out, I incorporated strength training in what the seniors were doing at the senior center. So on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, they go to Trey's place. And on Wednesdays, for the people who can't get up or who are not as, I don't know, we got some people in some, yeah, they do the chair exercises. And if you could come in that building when, and I sometimes I would put it on Facebook, but this particular day, Miss Hodge, who was about 80, and Trey came in and everybody's exercising. I said, okay, they're moving. I see Miss Hodge. And she never gets from that chair. But Trey says, you haven't rested, you haven't had a rest in 70 years. Keep moving. And Miss Hodge and when I tell you the joy that I feel when people and he said, everybody get up. And this is what I saw. I didn't see. Everybody's getting up. So I tell you, from the youth to us senior people, we need him.
Thank you very much. Good. Any other comments for?
Rosemary Allen. My address is 233 6th Avenue South, and that's in Birmingham, 35205. I have worked alongside with Trey for 3 years now with Irondale Youth Sports. My kids go to Irondale Middle and now Shays Valley High School. And honestly, I pass by a lot of neighborhoods that have other youth sport activities. And I chose Irondale because it's a good program. I have worked alongside him for 3 years now as his treasurer and park mom. And when I say the beginning, when we started, we did not have that many kids, but now I can say we have over 200. And alongside that, with this gym, we will be able to, on those days when it's raining outside, we'll be able to go to the gym to continue our practices. We had a team last year that went to the championship game. And so alongside his training at the gym, it'll be very fun, what's the word I'm looking for? Monumental for us, for this gym to be here in Irondale. That's all I say.
Thank you. Any other comments for?
Hi, my name is Kenya Wright. I live at 5259 Dresden Road. And I'm for,
Excuse
my
me.
girls is
Excuse me.
for
Where's Jefferson Road located? Is it in Irondale? Dresden. Okay,
Dresden.
thank you. I didn't hear you. Thank you.
35210.
Thank you.
Yes, so I'm a mom of one of the girls for the volleyball team, and it made the news. First time in 22 years that they went to the Elite Eight. Proud mom. But to get there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and $5,400 a year for me to drive to Oxmoor to get her training. Homewood, not here.
Yes, ma'am. Any other comments for the rezoning? Yes, ma'am. Do all four of y'all anticipate speaking?
No, just one.
Okay.
Sarah Moore, 1608 Cahaba Glen Drive, from Irondale 35210. All of us are members of Trades Gym. We've been going there for almost a year, and we're seniors. We do his silver sneakers, and I've been to lots of gyms, but I've never stayed more than a couple of months. I look forward to going down there. Trades Gym is more than just a gym. The name I Am Love is more of a healing and the atmosphere. He shows us, and his trainers show us that we are loved. We have a trainer for all of our classes, and we love going. Yes, I think it should be rezoned for us to still be able to go.
Thank you.
I do want to say something.
One moment. If you're going to say something, just name and address. Thank you.
My name is Terry Winston, 105 Windview Trace. I'm a recent retiree from the city of Irondale, and I joined that center up there. Let me just cut to the chase. I've been having some issues with my health, and I went to him in confidence. This guy is really about love and about unity. Irondale has always been about unity until now. I have lived here over 30 years. I was the mayor's neighbor for over 20 years. I've never seen Irondale so divided. Let us not divide us like this. He went to school with my children, with James' children. Listen, we're stars here. We're blessings to this family, to this Irondale family. Don't let this continue to be a black eye for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for this rezoning?
My name is Jason Hooper. I live at 7838 Windsong in Trussville, but I pastor in Irondale at Kingsway Church. And, one thing we know is, a tree by its fruit. And, hearing what's going on with Trey, and then seeing and talking to people that have been going to your current gym and the excitement about the new gym, it's clear that you're not just building strong people, but you're building strong families and strong communities. And that's what we need in Irondale. And I believe that this is going to not just make Irondale stronger physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and if we let it, relationally. And that's what we need. I'm for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Columbia being 201 24th Street, 2nd Avenue South. I am for it. I've been in Irondale all my life, and I am for it. Trey is a little bit younger than me, but I too am an alumnus of Shays Valley High School, the old one, the original one. And I've seen him grow up right here in Irondale. His parents are a beacon to this community, but not just that. When you think about the name I Am Love, this young man, this family, her other 2 children, they're loved. Somewhere the foundation been laid, and it's out there. But to see Irondale divided, and I've been here all my life, and at 6 and 7 years old, you don't understand why you can't pass the stop sign from the Scotts Bend area. I'm from the Scotts Bend. You can't understand why you can't go to the whistle stop. This in the 80s. I'm not talking about the 60s. I'm talking about the 80s and the 90s. You can't understand why at 3 o'clock you get out from the old Irondale Community School. At that time it was Irondale Junior High. And they let the dogs out when we had to run home.
Let's keep it to the item, please. Let's keep it to the item.
But to exemplify love, this young man has done that. That's the history of Irondale. And if we wanted to continue to go on and to continue from families to families, from generation to generation, allow this rezoning to take place. Allow for the negativity to be moved out the way, and let's just get the job done. Trey, I told you already, I ain't where I want to be in fitness. But if you ain't not in
But you going there.
thank you, Pastor. I'm going there. I ain't high school skinny, don't want to be high school skinny. I want to be healthy. And from what everybody have said that have come to this podium that's for it, you're doing a great job. Let them continue to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for? Okay.
Hi, my name is Tanasia Lundy, 216 70th Street South. That's in Birmingham, Alabama. I don't live in Irondale, but I do make the choice to have my kids come to Irondale, especially 3 years ago when they actually got the program for Little League. In my heart, it takes a village. This is my son, he's 7. He plays football. He's been playing for Irondale. Regardless of what your decision is today, it takes a village. Let's think about the future of Irondale. You're looking at the future right here. My daughter is a cheerleader in the back. You're looking at the future of Irondale. When I go to the gym, I can bring my kids because guess what Trey's gonna do? He's gonna put them to work. They're gonna move dumbbells, they're gonna exercise, they're gonna go out and do what we do. It's right across from a gym. They are the future of Irondale. We wanna raise them right. Trey does a lot of things that you can come, that you don't even have to pay money for. That's absolutely free. That's first of the month that anybody can take advantage of. That Little League, and it makes my heart warm when we are out there and it's just so many young people. And it's starting to be, this year is the biggest year forward where you're seeing grandparents, aunties, uncles coming out to practice. If you don't believe me, come out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday at 6 o'clock and watch how many cars are at the middle school watching their kids go through exercises, go through drills, and even come to some of the games. Don't let your decision just be based on something that you want. Let's think about the kids. They are the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for this rezoning? Any other comments for this rezoning? Do y'all both plan to speak? Okay.
Yeah, 2 minutes each.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Zion Webster, 2505 Martin Road.
Municipality. Municipality.
Sir?
City.
Oh, Birmingham.
Okay.
So I feel as if this gymnasium should be built because like it being so close to our school and us just having to, go just straight down across the street would be so helpful to us instead of like having to put gas in our car to go all the way down past where we're supposed to go and all that. It's just far. And I feel like Coach Trey has done a lot for us as going to Shays Valley Volleyball. Like he's built us up. I feel like we wouldn't have made it to Elite 8 how we did if we didn't have Coach Trey. And I really do appreciate you for taking the time out to help us, build us up, giving us strength to, make it that far and play all them games, because we wouldn't have been as strong as we was if it wasn't for you. So we thank you, because you're not only helping these grown folks, but you're helping us children. You're helping us. So I just want to thank you for that. But I feel like this would help us and the community build up, because yes, I don't stay in Irondale, but it also plays a big part in my life, because yes, I want to be able to come back and be like, well, Shades Valley, Irondale helped me become and go so far in life. And yes, my little brother, he's in the little youth of Irondale, and we do have a great bond with Coach Trey and all the other people that go there. And I just want to just say thank you, Coach Trey. And it would be a heaven to us, and it would be just heavy on our heart if we could just walk down instead of having to get in the car, worry about certain things happening to us, because that's also a safety thing. So just having to just walk across the street would be so much help for us to get that extra help in. So thank you, and I feel like you should really.
Thank you. All right.
Let's just go. My name is Akira. I live 2936 Chestnut Ridge Lane. I don't actually live in Irondale at all. I've lived in Hoover my whole life, but I go to school in Irondale. And since I've been here going to school, he's really done a lot for me, and wise his body and shape and health and mental. Like with him, if we would have it, it'd do a lot for me, because it's in front of the school. It's literally just a couple walks right in front of the school. Like I already have, some children already have to drive quite far enough to get to school and get our education. And if you want to stay in shape and do great in athletics, you just go right on down the street a little bit to the gym. And he's really helped. I was with him, started him my first time freshman year, which was a very hard time experience in my life. But I would sign up and do it again if I knew it would bring me to this part in my life for my last year in high school. That I expect for my sport, volleyball team, that we'll get farther than Elite 8 in volleyball with what he already does. This year, I missed some of our workouts, and I went to his workouts every day, anytime he'd give it, and I wished that I was able to be more consistent as I was before. And so then, like I said, if we were to have him, it'd do a lot for me, because I don't live here. And if I had to pick a place to go to the gym for, I'd pick him, because I know I'm comfortable with him. I'm comfortable, and I know the facility. I know the environment I'm in, and I know that I improve and get better, and that I see myself inviting my family or friends to go to him, because I know what to expect, and that I know I'll see better and more. And so, yeah, I'm just all for it. Thank you.
Fair enough. Any other comments for this rezoning? Going once, going twice, gone. Any comments against this rezoning?
Jim, do you want anything else?
You go first.
Okay. My name is Carter Dukes. I reside at 3108 Carl Daly Road. I'm going to move from what I prepared to say at this juncture to try to get us back on track, because I think we're off track. We've lost sight about what this is about.
Speak in the microphone, Carter.
Please.
We've lost track about what this is about. No one is against Mr. Cheney. No one is against a gym in Irondale. What the neighborhoods of Carl Daly are against is a gym with the basketball court, recreation center that abuts residential property, that's zoned for residential property, to change the zoning for that. Mr. Cheney can build a gym anywhere that he wants to, and I hope he does. And I hope everybody in the community goes to it. But it is not right to build a gym, a recreation center, where we know now hundreds of thousands of kids and adults are going to be going to, that abuts residential property. As the owners of 6085 Old Leeds Road, they purchased that property knowing that it was zoned institutional. It was not zoned commercial. We purchased our property based on the representations made by the city in its plan, in its zoning, in its ordinances, in its comprehensive plan. There is no way that you can build a gym and have all those activities that have been discussed
and that noise not emanate from there and disturb the neighborhood. There's no restrictions that can be placed on that property that will prevent that. I've heard the argument that the neighboring property was allowed to be rezoned to C1 and that this property should be rezoned as well. First, if you draw that argument to a logical conclusion, then all of Irondale should be C1. Second of all, that property, that neighboring property, is a professional office.
Thank you.
And it uses very little traffic. So I will
Thank
end
you,
with
sir.
this.
Thank you,
Remember
sir.
the golden rule.
Thank you, sir. I really need y'all. I have to be consistent on this. When you hear my alarm, I will get a couple extra words in and finish your thought, but I have to be consistent on this 2-minute timer. Any other comments against this rezoning?
Thank you for allowing me to speak, Council. I'm going to go off script too. I think Trey.
Name and address, if we may.
1004 Bramble Lane.
And your name?
Michael Esfafiatis.
Thank you.
So our land overlooks the gym, and Trey, you people, your friends made a very good argument for what a great trainer you are, and that there is a need for a gym that you run and operate in Irondale. I mean, people made a very, very good argument for that. But I think we're conflating two issues. It's not that you're not good at what you do or that you help people. I'm a physician, I help people. The issue is the rezoning problem. Like, why did we have to deforest 2.5 acres right next to our property? Why couldn't we develop this in an area, maybe down the street, where we didn't have to disturb the environment? You know, deforesting that type of area, it's a huge area. It endangered certain species. It's not good for the ecosystem. And it just, the whole point of having residential properties are to create a buffer between commercial areas and residential properties. That's why things are zoned that way. So that, I think that's the issue, not that you're a very good trainer or that you help a lot of people, but that it's where it's located. If we could figure out a way where you could build your gym and have your gym, but not in a green space, that's the solution I think Mr. Box was looking for. Okay? So everyone, there's no one against anybody here. It's a zoning issue. That's it. Okay? It's a municipal zoning issue. Okay? Thank you so much.
Any other comments against this rezoning?
Burt Boykin, 2001 Park Place North, Suite 540 in Birmingham. I represent Hayes and Jill Harris. Again, this is a zoning decision. We're analyzing how a given use and a change in zoning corresponds with the city's zoning ordinance, the surrounding properties, the comprehensive plan. I think we all can agree that all uses are not created equal, even uses contemplated within the same zoning classification. The proposed use here is one of the most intensive uses allowed in the C1 classification. Add to the fact that this site is directly adjacent to a residential neighborhood, this decision deserves a high degree of scrutiny. Granting this rezoning would conflict with the recommendations of the comprehensive plan, which is to guide the city's zoning for the next 15 years. However, the plan has been largely disregarded to this point. This is the first time we've seen any of these renderings. This information was not submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission. It was not shared with the city, given we've made a public records request. It's a substantial deviation from all of the presentations that have been made here. We were last before the council on May 21st. I don't know why this couldn't have been shared. It was not a part of the city's packet. We're all seeing it for the first time tonight. This has gone back and forth between football field, no football field, pickleball court, no pickleball court, C1, C2. Each time we discuss this, the information changes. Planning and Zoning Commission, this council and neighborhood have never seen these renderings, and more importantly, a site plan. This is a substantial deviation, as evidenced by the notice of this hearing that contemplated Councilman Box, his noise condition, which was in response to the football field element. We had a totally different conversation on the 21st. So we don't have the ability to analyze and understand this and its impact on the adjacent property. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Ann Baffiatas, 1004 Bramble Lane. We moved to Irondale 10 years ago and finally saved enough to buy into our neighborhood after years of hard work and sacrifice. Shortly after moving here and during the last administration, I began coming to the council meetings and speaking about issues that were important to my family and neighbors. I've served on Parks Committee, Industrial Development Board, as well as active in the community working to keep the stray population down. I work with Heidi's Kids, a member of the Friends of the Library, Irondale Arts Council, president of my HOA, Carl Daly Beautification Committee, and a lifetime Girl Scout. Our home is our safe place where we all meet up at the end of the long day. We enjoy being outside with our dogs, walking down to our lot, which is adjacent to the proposed recreation center. It was purchased with the hopes of building a smaller home for our retirement. Now our dreams are in danger, our property values are compromised, and our neighborhood at risk. We have put our heart and soul and life savings into our home and family. The area behind our home is zoned institutional for a reason. It serves as a buffer to the residential area that has been here for 20+ years. The owners of the zoning property exceeded their permit by cutting down a mature forest before rezoning, alerting the neighbors of a potential problem. With more repairs to come, we have spent $30,000 to date fixing damage to our home from the blasting in progress in Irondale. We anticipate double that to fix our home. When will it end, and where will we be to keep the solitude this area had offered us? Over the years, I've watched Irondale make the right zoning choices. One example was the planned shopping area at Branch Mill Road behind an established neighborhood. The other was the fight against the billboard. Both cases, Irondale sided with the rights of the residents. We hope to see you see the value of your residents in this case as well, and we humbly ask you to vote no to rezoning at 6085 Old Leeds Road.
Any other comments against this rezoning? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Mary Catherine Lawson. I live at 100 Brooks Lane. My property is directly adjacent to 6085 Old Leeds Road. I'm also going to go off script because this is new information. Every time that we have heard about this gym, it has changed. It was an outdoor and football field, indoor, back to no outdoor, C1 to C2, back to C1. So you can understand why we're a little bit reticent to be amenable to this rezoning. If Old Leeds Road is to the right of that building, then that means that my kitchen window looks at the entrance. And the architect said there is no noise, there is no extra lighting. But if this is going to have, as Trey has said before, 1,000 new members in the first year, there will be noise. When the lot was clear cut, the lighting from Shades Valley High School shines directly into my kitchen at night. So like any additional lighting will be lighting. We've been told to compromise. But with all of the changes that have happened historically, who's to say it's not going to come back in 3 months and say, oh, actually, we're going to rezone to C2, and it will be that much easier. Obviously, we do need this facility in Irondale, but the question is, why this plot of land? Yes, it will be convenient to the school, but if it is rezoned tonight, we need a crosswalk and we need sidewalks because it will not be safe for children to cross Old Leeds. And I know that because I walk across it every day when I walk my child to daycare. I have a 14-month-old at home. And, you know, I'm trying to decide, do I want to continue to grow my family? And if I do, I'm probably going to have to sell my house, and I'm probably going to have to do it at a loss because our property value is going to tank when this is what you see when you walk out our front door.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Council President.
Before you proceed, if you can.
Point of
Yes,
order.
sir.
Could you please ask the gallery to
Thank
keep
you.
it quiet? There's quite a bit of mumbling going
I
on.
gave a motion to a certain group, but yes, please keep I know there's a lot of emotions. I know some people, one side's not liking what they're hearing and the other side's not liking what they're hearing. But please, as far as the gallery is concerned, we want to make sure that everybody, as well as the people listening online and us, can make sure that we hear the speaker that's in front of us. Thank you. Proceed, sir.
All right, my name is Hayes Harris. I'm at 89 Brooks Lane, Irondale, Alabama. It's great to hear all the accolades that Trey Cheney receives from his involvement with the community. But I think the council needs to remember that this is not a community center. And it's not an extension of our school system either. It is a for-profit gym that is going to be located right next to my property on Brooks Lane. Through this whole process, our zoning ordinances have not been upheld. We're not supposed to start excavation, store building materials prior to any sort of permits being issued or what have you. I think that the Irondale City needs to uphold its own ordinances as we move forward in this process. It started in February where there was no city permits or ADM reports or no rezoning. The city had to know that delivering building materials was not in good faith. That's in my opinion. I'm sorry. Need to know where the city's honest enforcement of its own ordinances and zoning restrictions and building procedures for all of the residents here and its potential new business owners moving forward. Because right now, it doesn't appear that we're doing that. So, thank you all.
Thank you. Comments against?
Yes, definitely.
I was asking for additional, I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Claude McRoberts, 1031 Bramble Lane. Excuse me. I moved here at the end of January of this year. I moved to Birmingham to be the senior pastor at Cahaba Park Church. We looked all over Birmingham looking for a place to live. We gladly, by the grace of God, landed in Irondale. We immediately fell in love with Irondale. We believe our home is a gift from God. It's an undeserved blessing in our lives. Our neighborhood has been like the cherry on top. Like most in this room, we did not choose or know our neighbors, but they are amazing. These are hospitable, caring, involved people. I've heard some disagreement with bringing God into the public square. I disagree with that. In Him, we live and move and have our being. Amen. As a Christian, I try to see all of life from God's perspective. I see government and councils and cities through the lens of God's Word. I believe we should love our God with all our heart, soul, strength, and mind, and neighbor as ourself. That love does not in any way contradict the love that I have for Trey Cheney and each of you city council members and the mayor, who I like very much, and thank you for your hour this last month with me alone. I don't disagree with anything that's been said thus far about Trey or anybody else. I mean, I was smiling at all the testimonies. But this love demands of me that I love these closest neighbors, the Chapmans, the Harrises, the Smiths, with a protective love. The placement of I Am Love at 6085 Old Lees Road is not in the best interest of Irondale. It is not in the best interest of Bramble Lane or the integrity of our citizens' well-being and camaraderie. It has not promoted honest communication and brotherly love. It has not scratched the Irondale itch for confidence in our city council. And finally, does not protect the peace of our neighborhood and city. I ask you with all due respect for the position that you hold, that God puts you in, to do the right thing for your neighbors whom you represent, who you love and care about, and I'm sure pray for, not to rezone the property and allow the I Am Love Gym to be built at this particular location. In the name of wisdom with a capital W.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments against rezoning? Yes, sir.
Robert Chapman, 1035 Bramble Lane. I'm here to talk about the land more than anything. Most, if not all, of the ADM BMP requirements implemented, the ADM inspector had to enforce them. The ADM permit does not allow the landowner to break local law. No permit was in place when clearing started in February 2024. City land disturbance is defined by the city, may have any soil erosion due to water or wind, which we've had a lot of that the last few weeks. Current erosion control drawings have been completely ignored. City ground disturbance erosion requirements have not been followed. No retention pond to date. Greenbelt was destroyed. City ordinances, no alteration shall be permitted until reclassified. No land disturbing activity until the city issues a permit. Measures required to protect private property. Downslope erosion control shall be in place before earth-moving operations begin. The city inspector did assure the neighbors that residential property would not be impacted. There's a lot of things here that haven't been met. Final drawings are not approved and no building permit. It's great to see something finally that we can expect if this is approved. Council voting on rezoning without knowing approved plans. That's the first y'all seen of that too. Y'all couldn't answer any of our questions about what it was. The one that really has stuck with me during this whole process and bothered me. The owner told our neighbors he did not care how he impacts surrounding land and homes. And Mayor, that's just the opposite of your article that said, can't we just get along? That one I cannot get over, and I've not heard anything different since I heard that statement made. This is not the place to put this gym.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments against this rezoning?
My name is Pete Bennett, 1019 Bramble Lane. I just want to say I'm against it, and there's just so many other places that gym could have been built. You know, I live up there on Bramble Lane, and it used to be you could sit out there on your deck and look at the stars and, you know, see shooting stars and stuff like that, but with Buc-ee's and then the Chevron, and now with the Publix. And Chase Valley was all right because it wasn't constant. You know, it was just every now and then you get it. But now it's like you can hear the cars racing up and down Old Leeds Road. And, you know, I know that's what's going to happen. And I want y'all to think about this with empathy. If you live there and this was happening to you, just put yourself in our positions and vote like you think that you know what's right. That's all I'm asking.
Any other comments against this rezoning?
I'm Mother Louise Marie Flanagan, and I live and it's 314, the address 314 Carl Daly. And I just wanted to say that the blessing that we sisters bring to the Irondale community is a home of quiet prayer and spiritual retreat. And we believe that this is something unique and that no one else can give in that same way. And most residents deeply appreciate that. And the reason I'm against the rezoning is to preserve that treasure for the community.
Any other comments against the rezoning?
My name is Michael Odom. My address is 2025 3rd Avenue North in Birmingham. I represent the Sister Servants of the Eternal Word. The architect, when he spoke, he kept calling this a fitness gym. Said it over and over again. This is going to be a fitness gym. This is going to be a fitness gym. That's not what the zoning application calls for. That's not what your proposed ordinance calls for. The proposed ordinance says recreation center. And recreation center is defined in your zoning ordinance. And it includes bowling alleys, roller skating rinks, dance halls, pool and billiard rooms. So if you all vote to rezone this property to a recreation center, neither Mr. Cheney nor anyone who owns this property after him is limited to a fitness gym. Somebody can come in and doesn't have to come back and ask for permission from planning and zoning or this city council to have a roller skating rink or a bowling alley or a dance hall or a pool and billiard room. All of those uses are inconsistent with this neighborhood, with this property, with everything you've heard tonight. So by choosing to rezone, if you do make that decision, you're going down a slippery slope. You're opening up a Pandora's box, and which is totally inconsistent with your master plan for the city and with your zoning ordinance and with everything you've heard tonight. Thank you.
Any other comments against the rezoning?
Yes. Hi, I'm Jill Harris, 89 Brooks Lane. I've been up here every time this has come on the docket. I was here for the very first P&Z meeting. I showed up, me, a couple of neighbors, and a notebook. This has gotten out of control. It has made me lose all faith in the city I love. This entire process has been a nightmare to me and my husband, and the amount of time, money, and heartache I have invested in this is just undescribable. I cannot believe that I'm gonna have to wake up every morning and have a high-use commercial facility in visibility from my front porch, when that is not what was promised to me. We just got some basic plans. Thank you. That's more than we've seen so far, and this is the first we're seeing of it. Those still look like garage doors that open right up to my backyard on the back of that diagram, and that's very concerning to me. The noise that I can hear from the gym across the street is outstanding, with whistles and basketballs. For that to be right in my front yard is very disturbing. The C1 does not provide Mr. Cheney with what he wants. He wanted outdoor. I appreciate that he compromised a little bit, but I'm not convinced that we're still not gonna have extreme noise problems in our yard. We request the zoning be tabled until more can be learned about the environmental buffers that would be in place and exactly what those would look like to protect our homes and our environment, for us to be able to look at plans and find out a little bit more about what this really is and the impact. I don't know how anyone can make a really informed decision based on the little information that has been provided. We know that Mr. Cheney runs a good gym and motivates people in fitness, but that is not the issue. This is a for-profit commercial business going in my front yard that is high traffic and a very different business model than those that surround it. We have a petition that our neighbors have signed.
Thank you.
May I present the petition?
If you would like to hand that out. Yep, that's
That would
fine.
be great. It's one copy, but it does show that
Your time is up. We'll pass the copies around. Thank you.
260 people.
Your time is up. Thank you.
You allowed the others stated.
I'm sorry?
Not fair.
I've allowed everyone 2 minutes almost on the dot.
Sorry.
Almost on the dot. I've
At least
waited
let
for
her
them to
say
give
how
their
many signed
I've
it.
waited for them to give their name, their address, and when they've settled into the podium, I have begun my timer. Yes, you are correct. I have not started my clock while they are delivering their name and address. But after they have done so and they've settled into the podium, my timer has begun. And you've heard it go off, and you've heard my consistent behavior about how I have ended that session every time.
I'm Candace Wallace, 3112 Old Ivy Road, Irondale, Alabama. I'd like to add that the petition that we just presented to you all has 260 signatures on it. And another area that has really not been properly addressed is that Old Leeds Road is a 2-lane road. It is not a 4-lane road. You already have the school traffic on that road when you propose a gym. And I expect that gym to be quite successful, because I think that this young man is probably an excellent leader. And it's not the gym that's the issue. It is the location, like has been said over and over again. And that's traffic that you will put onto Old Leeds Road is, I think, excessive. And that's all I had to add.
Thank you. Any other comments against the rezoning? Any other comments against the rezoning? Do we have, is she coming up to the podium? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Michael Ann Markowitz, 478 Copper Landings Road. I've heard two things tonight. One, Trey, great job. That gym's not going to be big enough. The average commercial gym is 40,000 square feet. You said it's 15,000 square feet? And the gym I go to, the parking lot's bigger than the facility. So I believe we're going to have a parking issue too. So Trey, where were you when we needed someone to take over that soccer field?
This is not a
behind the middle
Q&A.
school?
This is a comment. Thank you.
Anyway, and secondly, it's sticking right in our face. There was a violation. Trey got bad advice. He was given guidance to go ahead and act like he already had rezoning. The penalty, we're waiting for the penalty. If you're in a ball game, you're playing basketball, you get fouled, timeout. It's time for a timeout. Keep it institutional, and let's fix the problem. You don't ask two teams to work it out. You get the referee, look at the rules, what's on the rules. So keep it institutional. What is the legal step at this point? And let poor Trey figure out what to do to get a bigger facility to accommodate all these wonderful people. So keep it institutional. Trey, you're going to go places. That's too small.
Are there any other comments against this rezoning? I'm not seeing any hands, sir.
Two.
We have two more?
Yeah, you have
Okay.
him coming up and one raising a hand.
Okay, thank you.
1027 Bramble Lane.
And once again,
In the gallery, please. We need to be able to hear the gentleman. If you could speak into the mic, sir.
Thank you for your time. My name is Steve Woodfield. I have lived in Irondale for 41 years. Recently, my wife and I decided to move to Bramble Lane. We bought a house there, which we felt like would be our last retirement home. We did a lot of modifications there. It's a very nice, quiet neighborhood, as you've heard. In my time in Irondale, I've met a lot of these people. I coached some of Trey's siblings in softball years ago. I think Trey is doing a great job. I think what he wants to do, he will do a great job. But where this is located is not conducive for the quiet neighborhood that's been there and has been, as someone said, promised by Blueprint Irondale. We spent extra money doing an extra plan for the city after we already had one. And both of those comprehensive plans said that whole area would be green space. And that's what a lot of us have planned our futures on. And we can't plan based on these kind of changes in that area. For those reasons, I'm against rezoning this facility in that particular area.
There was another hand from the gallery.
Jenny Brown, 4154 Riverbrook Road. I oppose this rezoning because it does not align with our comprehensive plan. It's a strategic plan. It's a master plan. Probably you would not be able to borrow bond money and do the things, the great things that we're hoping to do if you didn't have a plan. I'm sure they ask, well, what do you want these millions of dollars for? Do you have a plan? We do have a plan. And these people spent money, they built their lives, they built legacy, their heritage, they're going to give their children, was based on this plan that we put into place a long time ago. Also, I was asked to state that the petition had 260 signatures on it. 117 are exclusively from this Coral Daly area. The rest of them are from citizens like myself who have fought similar type irregular zoning issues in the past. This does not align with our comprehensive plan. Nobody is against fitness. Nobody loves the outdoors and fitness and working out more than I do, except maybe you. But why this place? That hasn't been answered with all of the people who spoke, who gave character references. Why this place? And it's really not fair to expect, the high school volleyball team to answer those types of questions about zoning. The other petition that was circulated, what was the question? Was it, are you for or against this gym? Or do you understand zoning and protecting the future of Irondale? Thank you.
Are there any other comments against this rezoning? Are there any in general comments, sir? I would prefer not to, just to keep it level. But I appreciate that. Any other in general comments that do not fit in the for or against column? You've already
She just
spoken, ma'am.
spoke.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, sorry.
We're just
You
in the
already
Q&A,
spoke.
but I appreciate your willingness. If there's a question that you have, maybe afterwards, you can go straight to the source. Thank you. Or one of us if it pertains to us. Okay. I understand. We can clarify some things for you. Okay. Thank you. Any other comments that do not fit in the for or against column? All right. With no more comments, that would ask.
Motion.
Okay. You make a motion to leave public hearing?
Yes.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have taken all of our comments. We have deliberated our items. It is now time to execute. That being said, looking for an approval of the form of the agenda for the current meeting. I know we've made some adjustments. If y'all can remember where we were.
Make a motion that we approve the form of the agenda, moving items 12, 14, 16,
15.
15.
15. Thank you.
15.
All right, 15. Well, and I got 16.
And 16.
And 16.
15 and 16
Yeah.
to the consent agenda.
And various items being postponed.
Correct. And postponing, item number, let's go back over here to the first one. Item 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10.
Second.
I believe that to be correct. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now, since we did change the order up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and now ask for an approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Fair enough. Thank you. Motion, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right. That takes care of consent. Move that around. All right. So item number 7 on the regular agenda. I believe that's where we need to start. This is a resolution. I believe we explained the fact that it was an unbudgeted item, so it needs to go through the ordinance process if someone would move this.
I make a motion that resolution 2024-R-130 be considered read.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion that we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2024-R-130.
Second.
Motion, second roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
I make a motion that resolution 2024-R-130 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That motion carries. Going past 7, 8, 9, 10. If I could get a motion for item number 11 on the regular agenda.
Make a motion resolution 2024 R134 be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
We have 4 yeses, I believe. Did I hear that correctly? And 1 no?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
That is a resolution. Item carries. Item 12 on consent. Item 13, Resolution, I believe it is unbudgeted at this time as explained. Ordinance process, if someone would please.
I make a motion that resolution 2024-R-136 be considered read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Sims. Roll call, Councilman London?
No, first step. That
That's
was
first step, my bad.
I make a motion that we suspend
you.
all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2024-R-136.
Second.
Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call. Or do we have to
I don't
have a
think we
roll call?
completed the first step, so I saw that as the completion of the first step. Was I misunderstanding your process?
This was the second step.
That was the second
That
step?
we suspend
Okay,
all
my bad.
rules.
I thought you were saying that we didn't finish the first step, so I apologize. Okay. A roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
I make a
Finally.
motion that resolution 2024-R-136 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I get for trying to read ahead. All right, 14, 15, and 16 on consent. Item number 17, it is a budgeted item, is a resolution. If we could get a motion on that item.
What number?
Item number 17, resolution 2024-R-140.
Make a motion, 2024 R140 be moved.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
And one no. 4 yeses and 1 no. Carries. Item number 18, and 19, but we'll take 18 first. Both of these are ordinances. If we could begin the process on item number 18.
Make a motion that ordinance number 2024-14 be considered read.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-14.
Second.
We have a motion, second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Yes. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
No. Councilman Box?
Yes.
Yes. Councilman Sims?
Yes.
Yes. And myself, yes. Since that failed the roll call vote, there's no reason to proceed to the third step. Item number 18.
Make a motion that ordinance 2024-15, did I say ordinance? Yeah, ordinance 2024-15 be considered read.
Before that's seconded, is there a, actually, never mind. I'm going to go with the motion that's made. I believe it was seconded.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Make a motion we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-15.
Second.
Motion, second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Second stage, fail, 4 yeses, 1 no. Okay? I understand. Yep. That's why I stopped talking. All right. Item number 20. That is an ordinance. If we could go ahead and move that.
Make a motion that ordinance 2024-16 be considered read.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion we suspend all rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of ordinance 2024-16.
Second.
Motion, second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that ordinance 2024-16 be approved and adopted.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. This is a second reading of an ordinance. Since it's a second reading, do we go through a full process, legal? I think it's just a reading, right? Okay.
Council President Spivey, I make a motion that we deny this rezoning request.
Okay. There is a motion on the floor to deny the zoning request. Do we have a second?
Sure. Second. Everything deserves a vote.
Fair enough. We have a motion. We have a second. I'm going to do this by roll call. Councilman London?
No.
No to deny. That is no to denying, correct?
No to her resolution.
No to no to her. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
I'll abstain from the vote.
Councilman Sims?
No.
And no as well. So I had to rethink that because it's a little bit of a reversal. Okay, so that motion fails. Would someone like to make a new motion? I would make a motion for the passage of ordinance 2024-08.
Second.
Motion, second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Yes. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
No. Councilman Box?
I'm not gonna hurt either side. I'm just gonna abstain.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Motion passes. That is all of our comments. That is all of our agenda items. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.